don't think that's a good idea, sir.
Well, for once, Commander Cole and I are in total agreement, sir. By the way, I do have 50 gallons of bouillabaisse that I need to prepare by tomorrow.
My birthday.
Yes, sir, I could do the cheeseburger routine.
No, it's not for me. It's the crew. They really love that stuff. So we'll
Round one, fight!
Come on, you want to live forever?
Stop! I can't. Stop! I can't breathe. Stop!
No. Oh,
boy,
dear.
I think she's actually hurt.
No,
there.
I think she is.
Yeah, she's
Ouch.
hurt. She took a hard fall.
Wednesday, January 25th. Guys, hombre en fuego, right? It's man on fire. Denzel Annuary, our best Denzel Annuary yet, guys. This is the best one yet. Holy crap, crazy movie. Never seen it before. Not what I expected at all. I'm joined by the panel, the amazing, the beautiful, I don't know. They smell good. Shantan Jetty and Jericho Green. How are you doing, boys?
Doing great.
All right.
Great. Glad to be here.
Love this movie.
Glad to be here.
Just devolve into just little noises like that.
It doesn't mean we don't need words at this point, guys.
Right.
No words.
We don't. The
We
chat
don't
gets
need
it.
words if we love each other. You know, we just vibe.
What a great movie.
Sorry, I just got carried away.
Yeah. Arumafe. Oh, well, thank you. $20 right off the bat. Wow, that's nice. Thank you so much.
Way to set the
Best
tone.
opening ever. Love the new movie editions. Yes, that is my very talented daughter, Minnie, who is right now in the car on the way to the La Jolla Comedy Store. That is the comedy store owned by like Pauly Shore's family. She's performing tonight. Pretty Funny Women. It's all-female stand-up. So I'm very happy for her. She's did a great paid gig last week. She's doing lots of great stand-up, getting paid. I'm very proud of her. And she and I have a new show on Thursdays. We brought back Father-Daughter Dance. So we're doing that Thursday, like evenings, like 6 to 7 Pacific. We just do an hour. We're going to improv. Tomorrow night's guest is Greta Thunberg is going to be there.
Oh,
excellent.
Be prepared. Yeah. I'm going to interview Greta in prison. Remember, she got fake arrested or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Photo op.
Well, police brutality is a terrible thing to have to see happen to someone like that. You know what I mean? When that all the photography and smiles, it's as bad as I heard it was. You know, I haven't recovered yet.
It was awful. I can't even look at the footage.
Daniel Orr wants to know what that news clip was. Daniel, that is one of the greatest news clips of all time. I don't know what city, like, Atlanta, KTLA, Atlanta. I don't know where it was from, but the lady was out on location stomping grapes, and they wanted to see who would get more juice. And she's like, stop. And then she kept stomping because she wanted to cheat. And karma bit her right in her ass. And I know that woman's never had the wind knocked out of her before by the way she reacted. She was telling it to stop. And that's not how the wind knocked out of you works.
That's not how life works. You can't just yell stop to life. No, you did this. You did a chest dive off of this little platform, and life's going to teach you a lesson. I think it took the air out of her spirit. It took the air out of her lungs, and then the air
She's
out of her
no
spirit.
longer.
Holy
no longer
hell. That shit is so funny.
It's so good. It's so good. You know what? So nice. Let's watch it twice. All right. Here we go.
Stop! Oh, stop! Oh, I can't. Oh, stop. I can't breathe. Stop.
No. Oh,
boy,
dear.
I think she's actually hurt.
No,
there.
I think she is.
Yeah, she's hurt. She took a hard fall.
You gotta hand it to her colleagues being absolute pros. That was my homie that fell off there and was like, I would be crying and laughing.
I couldn't help.
on the air.
I would be of no assistance whatsoever. I would be crying, laughing too damn hard. That is just dog. I mean, the dogs, if there were dogs on the premises, they were howling. Oh, they don't know what the hell that noise was, man. Oh, my goodness.
Well, we hope she's okay. So,
dude.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Stop. No.
I don't know anything else about that clip. I mean, she tried to cheat.
What else?
Yeah.
What else is there to know, man? We know all we need to.
It's my ringtone.
Do you remember that when you're a kid, you're like playing street football and you get the wind knocked out and you're like, I want my mom.
No, you don't say anything. I will tell you this, man. All of the times I've fallen down and gotten the wind knocked out of me, but all the times were from a punch. And that's early. Like, I'm always amazed when people haven't had that experience. Or shit, in Taekwondo, man, you can get that. You get that experience.
Ooh, man.
Somebody catches you right at that moment.
Put your hands above your head. Open your lungs. That's all you can do.
But I've never made that. I got to be honest with you. Whenever I've had the wind knocked out of me, I've never been able to make I was impressed by the fact you could talk, because we were always like just drooling. But that she went for it.
But her body took over. Her mind wasn't. Her body was just.
Yeah, that's true.
Help me out, please.
Yeah, that was pure. It was
beautiful.
There was no pretense.
They didn't cut
it. It wasn't stepped on. Double Brewkeeper too. Thank you, friend. She fell almost as fast as mainstream comic sales. Hi-oh!
Almost.
Yep. Amen.
Nothing falls that fast.
I heard someone say it on the radio. I don't know who it was. It was yesterday. I was driving around, and they were saying, maybe if the Oscars nominates Top Gun Maverick for Best Picture and it wins, that could be like some sort of turning point in woke, like really, really ending. Because they need to admit that movie. It's not just a hit. It's like the 5th highest grossing movie of all time.
It was in the movie theaters for like 6 months.
I saw it twice.
Me too.
I freaking loved it. I'm going to say this, guys. This is controversial because Double Impact, we're all about the 80s and 90s. I like Top Gun Maverick better than the original.
True. The action was better. The action sequences were better.
But but to contradict myself, this movie wouldn't make as much sense without the context of the first one.
True.
So,
but this is what you're supposed to do when you've had almost 40 years of time passing between the first one and the second one. The second one should be awesome because the more time that passes, the more time you have to dedicate to the sequel. Yeah, this is a masterclass in what a sequel should be decades later. Because so many times we see a movie, the first one's awesome, 30 years go by, Coming to America 2, for example, and it's just a steaming pile in your eyeballs.
Oh, why'd you have to bring that up, man? Why did you have to bring up that?
Because it's the worst one
It's painful.
Claude Parrish says, "We hope she's all right. She sounded like she was about to get a big settlement check." Yeah, I'm sure she's doing fine right now.
That winery shut down.
Right.
That winery, it's no more.
Yeah. It's. I'm glad Secretary Not Sure for $5. Thank you very much. I'm glad you asked this because we're going to go right to the source on this one. That girl doesn't know how to fall correctly. She needs some advice from Biden. Thank you, President Biden, for being here with us tonight. I don't know why you're in blackface, but hey, it's a choice. You do know how to fall correctly. How did you learn how to fall correctly, Mr. Biden?
Well, when you've been on this earth for 720 years, because remember, I said I've been in the Senate for 720 years. You get a lot of practice falling. I've done something that no one else can do. Wait a minute. Thought an 8-year-old walked by. Anyway, I've been able to do something that no other person can do. I've fallen up. Remember when I was getting on Air Force One? I fell not once, not twice, 3 times.
All right. Well, thank you for that answer. It's such a treat to have you.
I did a quick cut for our friend Ethan to catch me. I'm falling. Joe Biden.
I love that song.
And it's beautiful. I'll have to send it to you.
I love that song. That song is from a movie where I think
License to Drive.
Was it Matthew Broderick has a beard? Is that the one where he has a beard in it? Somebody has a beard in that movie that normally doesn't. Because I like the song, so I saw the video once, and it's for a movie. It's for a soundtrack. Was it Pretty in Poison or something like that? The name of the group?
I don't know.
But that song kicks ass.
Yeah, it's a great song, man. Remember the music?
You got me on that one. You got me on that one.
Yeah, somebody has a beard in there.
But yes. Okay. Well, that's good. We learned about Biden falling up. That is good.
Sorry.
Oh, it's been an hour. I think Ukraine needs $1 billion more. So,
well, we just sent them 31 M1A1 Abrams tanks.
Okay. Well,
let's on their way.
We send them tomorrow. You know,
they're on their way right now. There's footage of the train pulling into or going through Poland. Hopefully, they have them by now. Merry Christmas, Ukraine.
Merry Christmas. Claude Parrish, maybe in defense of our friend, the POTUS, Paul Biden was testing new shoes when he fell up the stairs of Air Force One. Ooh, is that true? Mr. Biden, before you leave, what kind of shoes were they? Were they galoshes? Were they clogs? Were they Eskimo snowshoes? What were they, sir?
I was testing out my new grease bottom shoes. Because they're covered. They must have been covered in some kind of grease because I couldn't get my footing.
Okay. I like it. Well, as long as everything works out, that's what it's all about.
Oh, it's all going to work out in the end.
Oh, jeez.
I just saw the Emperor chair spinning around.
The fully functional battle station. Wipe them out. All of them.
How come in the prequels, the late 90s Star Wars, the Emperor, he got, I hate to say this, he got like a nutsack forehead.
Ew.
Why did that happen?
Scrotal dome. You know what?
He looked normal, and then he became evil, and he got a nutsack forehead.
That's the price you pay. You didn't know that, but in the Evil Academy, on graduation day, you get a nutsack on your forehead. Mm-hmm. But I felt bad for Star Wars fans, people that were like hardcore true fans, because, man, that was such a turd. And I just remember, knowing people, and they were just devastated. Again, perfect example. How many years between? 22 years? Right. You got 22 years, huh? You know the magnitude of this franchise. 22 years, 2 decades. What do you got? Star Wars. And it was shit, apparently.
Can you imagine, and we're not going to harp on it too much because Lord knows this is well-worn territory on YouTube, but could you imagine owning Star Wars, like you own the IP and not figuring out how to make money off of it? I don't know.
Yes.
I think
I've watched it. I want to. No, dude, listen. Gabe, let's talk about your neck of the woods. Can you imagine owning Superman and not being able to sell comics? Look, I can't, guys. This is the thing. We've been sorry. Yeah, I realize more and more on this show that I'm like Ray Liotta laughing at Joe Pesci. Like I'm 5 minutes away from that meme, and all of a sudden, Like I'm just right there, guys. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing I think people need to understand. There is a spiteful glee in the way they're destroying American culture. And if we don't start creating the next new things, Gabe was showing us some amazing new pages before we started on the book he's working on. And after that, he's going to be working on Beef Law. And I am like, every time I do a stream and I talk about the stuff you're working on, people are excited. But man, people keep talking about Beef Law, Truth, Justice, American Way, all the things you're doing. I'm so excited about it. But we have got to make our own stuff, guys. You know, like I just watched, and then I promise we'll get to the movie at some point. But I just watched.
Wait, what movie? What movie?
Yeah, wait.
We're going to talk about Star Wars, right?
Movie tonight?
We do.
We're going to talk about Star Wars.
Oh.
Actually, here's the thing, right? Well, let me finish this one first. When I saw for the first time, I got Daily Wire. I'd had it for a bit, and then I was like, I'm going to go back. I want to get a subscription to it because I want to watch. Terror on the Trenches. I'm not Terror on the Trenches. That's my friend Vaughn's book. Terror on the Prairie. And I just watched Terror on the Prairie, and it was really good. It was a great Western. Gina was fantastic in it. So there's alternate media out there. But, you know, the thing about it is that when I was thinking about today, and I'm going to see if I can share this with you here. I thought I can sum up this movie in, you know, essentially one word. I don't know if you can share this, if this has come through yet. But
let me see if it came through. Where is it? Oh, okay.
Right. Today we're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So first we have to decide how much do we want to find out. So let's say in this case, I want to find out at a level of 7. Okay. So I find that level on my graph and I come horizontally to my gradient line. Where it intersects with my gradient line, I'm going to come straight down to where it intersects with my fuck around line. That there is going to tell me how much I have to fuck around to find out what I need to find out. See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out. So I hope this lesson is helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know,
Very helpful.
that's this movie. That's it. Sorry.
That's this movie in a nutshell.
Oh man,
It's a fully operational. Well, what the hell does he say about? What's he tell Luke when he's shit talking him? I don't know. But,
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station. Fire at will, Commander.
he almost sounds like diplomatic
immunity.
No, and listen, I don't have this movie memorized because if I did, like if I was one of those kids on the spectrum memorizes entire movies, I would know that the first line of the movie was Command Stations is ST-321. We're starting our approach. Deactivate the security shield. But I'm not one of those weirdos. Don't want people to think that. Sick.
Hey, Sean. We don't want to get the ladies too excited, okay? You know what
That's
I mean?
right.
Too late.
Ladies, I'm married. I mean, you've never seen her, but I've got this ring, right? So
Yeah, I mean that proves everything, right? I mean,
yeah, that's
he
right.
totally doesn't live alone in a 1-bedroom apartment and eat room temperature cans of beans for dinner. Who would do
I
that?
love you, honey. Look, here's what I'm saying. Beaver and the gooch. Like, this is the problem, man.
Right.
It's
In
ruined
the
me.
smokehouse.
In the smokehouse.
I don't know if you noticed. I added a little Photoshop to this. I put
yeah.
that glare on his sleeve and face, and I put fire in his glasses. Is that dorky?
Got to do it.
I don't know.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. The fire wasn't originally there. I added that. I painted that in. But wow. Man on Fire. We've got Tony Scott. He's the director from last week's movie, Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
Most famous, I would say, for Top Gun, right? And he's Ridley Scott's brother, right?
Yeah.
The other director. And holy cow, this movie was not at all what I expected. I thought this movie was going to be much more mindless. I thought this was going to just be violence for 2 hours and 25 minutes or however the length is. And it totally didn't come off that way. There was a ton of really well executed deep setup between, I think her name is Dakota Fanning here. They called her Pita, like her, because her name was Lupita. There was I think you get like an hour into it before like some pivotal stuff happens. and there's a ton of setup and building the character on. So this totally caught me off guard. I thought he was going to just start killing people in the first 5 minutes because I knew it was a revenge flick, but I thought it. You know what I was expecting? I was expecting John Wick. I was expecting they wrong him in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and then he kills everyone for 2 hours, and it was not that. Holy cats! So
yeah, it was good, man. From the very beginning, when they first show him, well, first, it shows that kid being kidnapped. That young man looks like he's probably 16 or 17, and he's hanging out with the girl, or is it? Yeah, I think it's his girlfriend or something. The guys pull up in their car, grab him, put him in the car. You know, they call his family. Here's what you do: put the money here, meet up here, take off your shirt, wear a white shirt, take it off, wave it out the car window, or you drive around this fountain twice, wave your shirt out the window so we know it's you. They go here, they give him all the instructions. They cut his ear off and sent his ear to his family in the mail just to let them know they're not fucking around. And so they get the money, they let the kid go. And what's crazy is they let him go like on an on-ramp to a highway. So you got traffic that's already going and then traffic that's merging. They let him go at that point where they both merge, where there's like, some lines right there. There's like a little area where they don't drive. It's almost like the point where they would put the yellow barrels with the sand or the water in them in case of a collision. So this kid, he could have stepped left or right and it would have been over for him. He would have got hit by a car. Yeah, it would have been it for the poor guy. Lost the ear. And so they let him out right there, and the kid just falls to the ground crying. He knows he's free. And so it's setting up, letting you know this is what these guys are willing to do. They cut the ear off of a kid. This guy's a kid. He's not like a young man or something. He's like a teenager. They cut his ear off, so it lets you know these guys are for real. If you don't follow the instructions, shit's going to happen. And then
and it opens with a little bit. Sorry to interrupt. It opens with a little bit of exposition telling you that it's in Mexico City, and it's like every day in Mexico or South America, there's X amount of kidnapping.
Oh yeah, every minute.
So every minute someone's kidnapped. The premise that kidnapping is an issue, at least in this universe.
Yeah, and 70% of the people don't return. So it's a really high probability that, once they take you, that's it. Whether it's because that's just how they are, or the parents can't pay, or whatever. So yeah, it's for real. It lets you know from the jump, this is some real serious shit. This is a real probability, and this is what happens. And then so it cuts to him in the back of a cab, and he's coming across the border into Mexico. So he's coming to visit a friend, and it starts close up on his face. You see his beard. It's overgrown, his mustache. He's obviously not taking care of himself, and he's going to see a friend, a really good friend. They obviously have time in the military together. That's probably where they met, but they forged a real friendship. And there's a scene later on that really plays to that, man, where you're just like, man, these guys are boys from way back. And, they're happy to see each other. It's Christopher Walken. What a good army buddy to have. He's willing to shove a watch up his ass for you. So,
his father gave him the watch.
So this guy's a real friend. You know what I mean? And so it cuts to a barbecue. And this is where I got some problems. This is where this movie got a little too real for me. He's there at the grill cooking. And I don't know if this is his house or what, but it's fucking huge, pool, people. It's nice. And he licks all of his fingers. He's like, hey, Crease, because that's Denzel's character's name, Creasy, and everybody calls him Crease, or he calls him Crease. It's his boy. And he's all 10 of his fingers, he tongues down, and then he grabs the tongs and like starts making the meat. That kind of shit. Once I see that, I can't unsee it. Now I'm focused on you. You're disgusting. I can't touch anything that you touch.
Right. Jericho, both you and I, our fathers were gourmet chefs, right? And then on my mom's side, we owned a restaurant for 50 years, a Mexican restaurant. So I'm very, very much aware of food handling and contamination, this and that. And man, I've been to so many friends' barbecues, and I never say anything because I'm a guest. You have that tub of chicken marinating in whatever dressing. They put it on the grill. They finish cooking the damn chicken or the burgers or whatever.
Don't
put it back in the fucking tub of the
marinade. I can't eat it.
There's blood in there. What are you doing? Fucking A. So I always take the chicken that's now contaminated. I just throw it in the microwave for like 1 minute. So many people do that, and it irritates the shit out of me, but I never say anything.
Did they have a book? Did they have a book on their coffee table called "How to Give My Friends Diarrhea"? Because that's a good way to do it. to put
But
it in
why?
chicken
So-
juice.
Why do people do that? Why?
My plan. Okay, so I have a plan if I ever get into a tough situation for an assisted procedure, we'll call it. Okay, if I ever feel like I can't go on, I'm gonna go over to Jericho's house. I'm going to lick all of my fingers.
Ugh.
I'm going to grab the spatula and then take my muddy shoes and walk over to his pool, even if I have to put it in before I get there, and just wash my shoes in the pool. That is, and then it's it. Then Jericho, something's gonna happen. He's just gonna snap, and they'll find pieces of me.
Right.
That's what I think.
Different zip codes.
Dude,
Different zip codes.
that's too many pet peeves for me to overcome.
Too many.
That's too
Yeah.
many, man.
So,
But
any of you out there, if I come to your house for a barbecue, don't put the meat back into
Come
the marinade
on.
tray. What are we doing?
Did you just start cooking before I got over here? Like, is this
So
your
gross.
first time? Come
So
on.
gross.
It's disgusting.
Yep.
I don't
Do
think
it.
I'm a picky eater, but man, some things people do and eat gross me out. I don't get it, but whatever. Ugh.
What kind of diarrhea would you like? It's like,
I don't like. I love the concept of a buffet, right? Who doesn't want to like eat too much of something they love? But I don't like buffets because, okay, here's another one. You go into the bathroom, you're peeing. If you're a guy, you're not in a stall, you're at the urinal, or you're washing your hands, and a gentleman comes out of a stall. So what was he doing? And he just walks out of the bathroom.
Now I gotta
Doesn't
follow
wash
him.
his hands.
I gotta watch him. I can't go where he goes. I can't.
Right,
touch
and I'm gonna eat
what
at
he
the same
touches.
buffet as this fucking animal? No. No.
Listen, I've
Hold
got
on, hold on. I'll let you
Yeah,
go,
go
Sean,
ahead.
but just for that guy, Poopy Hands Joe, that didn't wash his hands, don't even wash them for me, bro. Wash them for you.
Yeah, watch him for
Wash them
yourself.
for you, not for me.
Nah,
Go
dude.
ahead, Sean.
Plastic,
We'll,
plastic bag
No,
over the head for that guy.
This one of the scariest things I've ever seen, and it just because it was that level where it pushes into this doesn't make any sense. I was going to grab some pizza at this at some restaurant on the side of the road, like it was like a gas station pizza thing. That's the desperation I was in.
Fancy.
And there was a gentleman, and it said all employees must wash hands behind the
Right.
counter, right? So I walk up to the counter, and this dude, you would have thought he was going into surgery. He is washing his hands. Now, I just walk up, so all I see is this kid washing his hands. I mean, he goes on for 10 minutes. Soaping, front, back, side, everything. And I'm like going, holy crap, man. This is amazing. Until we get to the best part. As soon as he finished washing his hands, he walked out from behind the counter and went to the bathroom.
No.
Dude,
And
you
I
just did all that.
Oh, no, but I just thought, oh my God, does he have it out of order? And I thought, I'm out of here. That is the scariest thing I've ever seen. Don't do it.
Hopefully he did
Don't
it
do
again when he came out.
You'd like to think that.
Yeah, he just likes to clean Johnson. That's all.
Yeah, he's like, you don't expect me to touch myself with dirty hands.
How dare you, bro? I haven't clean peanut, bro.
I was at a restaurant with my wife once for lunch, and the waitress comes up to us and she's like, "Oh, you guys, are you ready? Are you ready to order?" And it's like in the middle of the winter, and she's just coughing and coughing, and she leaves to get our waters. And I tell my wife, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Yeah, let's
and
go.
she comes back like, "We got to pick up our son from baseball practice.
Yeah.
and went somewhere else."
That's
Like,
disgusting.
no thanks.
Like these should be that lady should get headbutted in the bridge of her nose for that. That's what you get. You're
By
gonna
Steven
fucking-
Seagal.
Yeah,
Steven
dude, you're
Seagal's
getting
been designated to do
I'm
that.
shattering your nose
He's all-
for you. That's disgusting.
I've heard you've been coughing all over the food. I'm gonna have to put a stop to that, young lady.
we got a cougher here. Bam, dude, you're done. He sent her to the blood bank. She's out of here, dude.
She
Fucking out
So
of
she-
here. What's
So she
wrong
coughed
with
in
you?
the bouilla base. She coughed in the bouilla base. The men love that stuff. Like that's the start of a movie.
Dude, have you not ever been in public before, woman? What the fuck is wrong with you? You're done. I can't teach you anymore. We're on to the punishment phase. Bridge of your nose, out of here.
Right. So anyway, Denzel and Christopher Walken have a finger licking contest. At least they weren't licking the other guy's fingers. You know,
Well,
I'll get
as far as
yours,
we
you
know.
get- You lick mine, I'll lick yours. You know, clean each other's fingers off. I don't know about that.
I ran all out of fingers.
Oh, no.
God.
9, 10. No more fingers here.
Wow.
But
Right.
you know what was cool about it? What was cool, because and this scene gets deep for a second. It's cool because this is how guys are. I don't care how long it's been since I've seen you. We're going to pick up right where we left off. 30 seconds in, we're back to how we, the last time we saw each other. So they're having a great time, and he's telling him, I live like a king here, and all these women are around. It's huge place. You could have told me that was at a hotel, and I'd be like, yeah, I believe it. Giant place. And he sits down, and out of nowhere, like they're talking about the food and stuff, and Creasy goes, You think God's gonna forgive us for the things we've done? And he looks at him, he says, no. And he's like, all right. And it was like, it almost makes you think. Oh, and he asked him, how long are you going to stay? He's like, I don't know. Just kind of here. And I thought that he was coming down there to say goodbye.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he was coming down there to say goodbye to him and see if maybe he could fish for help one more time, one more cry for help. I'd say a weak cry for help. It seems like he made up his mind. But he was just like, yeah, okay, we're not going to be forgiven. And he didn't have a plan. And you see how he let himself go. His hair's all grown out, his beard and all that. So he could have been coming down there to just, say goodbye and then put one in his head, but he starts telling him, he's like, look, man, he's all, you need to get some work. He's all, I run security. These rich people want to come down here to their factories. They think I'm John Wayne. I run them back and forth. I make good money. He's throwing his boy a bone, as any good friend would do. You're in a position to help your boy out. You see he's struggling. Man, hell yeah, man. I want you to be doing as good or better than I am. So he helps his friend out. And, he tells him, hey, man, get a job. Down here, we got kidnappings all the time. People, it's just rich guys, showing off their money. They get some bodyguards. Nothing's going to happen, dude. It's fun, because nothing ever happens after somebody says, nothing's going to happen.
What's the worst that can happen,
Is anybody there? Like, file that under shit you never say.
Billy, stop. It's not funny.
Real quick, Hunt's Dirty Roofer for 5. Thank you, friend.
Damn.
Gabe, I got one for you. How many mouths has your fork been in before yours the next time you go out to eat? Oh, don't worry. I thought about this as a child, and I got over that a long time ago. And how good was it cleaned? My father has been a gourmet chef for 50-something years. I mean, he's been retired for about 15. He does catering he's an Arab Muslim, and his best friend is a Jew. And my dad does Orthodox Jewish catering for like bar mitzvahs and stuff, like once a month or, like 6-7 times a year. That's the only thing he does. But he told me, my dad, he never goes out to eat. And he says he doesn't go out to eat because he worked in kitchens forever. Like, hell no. So my advice, if you love going out to eat like I do, just try not to think about it. That's all.
Or bring like one of those alcohol wipes or something, disinfect that bitch.
We're practically that joke. You know what I mean? A Libyan, Mexican, an Indian, Austrian, Puerto Rican, and a guy from Jersey walk into a bar. Sorry, Jericho, your cover's been blown.
Hey, what's the matter, you?
But it isn't just the silverware; it's everything that goes on in the kitchen. And
Yeah,
I remember when I was in high school, I worked at Pizza Hut. Okay, I was making it great in 1995.
Yes, you were.
And a new lady showed up. She was a delivery driver, and she was like 7 months pregnant. She was ready to pop. And they told me she got transferred here from the other store because the manager at the other Pizza Hut got her pregnant. That's why she was a new employee at ours. But I would watch her, the pizzas and the hot wings would come out of the oven, and she would like take a pepperoni or a sausage off the pizza and eat it because I think she had pregnancy cravings, right? I saw her eat a hot wing once out of the order of hot wings.
Fucking order some hot wings, lady.
We had another guy, Farhad. He was from Iran. And or something like that, and he was like, I'm a doctor back home, and he's like delivery driver here. And
you ain't shit in America, motherfucker.
He got in trouble one night. He got in trouble one night because these poor delivery drivers, and he's like in his 40s, so he's trying to actually make a living doing this. They're hustling, they're driving fast, they're delivering fast. So he didn't have time to like stop and pee to make his deliveries. So he delivers a lady's pizza at an apartment complex, and then he like goes to the bushes by the dumpster and takes a piss behind the bushes. It's totally normal in my book. I see no problem with it, whatever. But the lady called the store. The restaurant was like, your delivery driver was peeing in our bushes. And I'm like 15 watching the manager yell at this grown man. I felt so bad.
Dude, I delivered pizzas back in the day for Round Table. Dude, it's a wild time out there, man, delivering pizzas. But you could still be clean about it. I remember I saw this pregnant lady in the Navy. She ate 12 powdered jelly-filled donuts.
Oh, God.
She sat there and polished those things off one by one, like in regular size, not the little mini donuts. She handles 12 donuts. It was amazing.
Damn. Yeah, I liked growing up in a food family with chefs and restaurants and working in kitchens. This is like being a football player and a football coach, it reminds me of that. The frenzy, the heat, the pain, like when we would do the Jewish catering, I did it with my dad a few times. We would start at 6 a.m. and we'd be done at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
You feel me? So that's like a 20-hour day.
Dead tired.
1,000 people. You know what I mean? You're cooking all day, and then dinner's at 6, services until 8. Then you're cleaning the kitchen, and it feels good when you finish. So you feel like you really accomplished.
Yeah, that's the kind of sleep where you don't remember falling asleep.
Right.
You're just out. Yeah, you're worn out. But he tells him, he says, well, you know, you can work for some family or somebody. It's not a big deal. You won't have to do anything. He says, well, you know, he's like, you're gonna have to watch the drinking though. He's like, you're gonna have to hide it. You know, don't let anybody know. But he says, even drunk, you're better than half the people out here. So just get some work.
Right.
And you know, see how it goes, man. Get back into things. He wants to see him working again. He wants to see him happy. He wants to see him not depressed. So he throws him a bone, hooks up an interview with Mr. Ramos, you know, Peter's dad, and you know, shit's off and running. And he appears next scene, boom, clean shaven, professional. And he's kind of grilling him, you know, Baywood interview. You know, he says, your resume is impeccable. You know, all this shit you did. He's like, basically, what the hell are you doing here? And he says, I drink.
Right.
And he says,
That was beautiful.
You know, yeah, straight up. He's very honest. He's honest with everybody. You know, with PETA, with her mom, with him,
I'm
everybody.
drunk right now while he's driving the car.
He keeps turning around, talking to him. Hey, man, watch the road. What do you mean? So he tells him, he's like, I drink. And he says, well, keep that shit a secret. Don't tell my wife. You know,
and that's, to me, that reaction of his is a bit of foreshadowing, because I was like, you're watching my kid, you're telling me you're like a functional alcoholic. Fuck out of here. I'm not hiring you. But like,
how about,
he's like, no, you're a drunk. Cool. Don't tell my wife.
This is
secrets you got?
Dude, me too. What's up? No, like,
this ain't water. This is not water.
Yeah, what's that?
I got a beer bong back here if you want to hit it while you drive.
Wait.
No. He's like, no. He's like, come on, pussy, take a drink.
all right, dude. Don't call me a pussy. I'm not a pussy, dude. Yeah. He tells him, you know, hey, keep that shit to yourself, you know, because he's just doing this. Okay, so in between that scene and this one, he meets with his lawyer, who is Mickey Rourke, Jordan Kalfas.
Right.
And he tells him, look, man, get some fucking security guard just so you can keep your insurance, because it's about to expire. And he can't renew it unless he has security, because they have to see that, well, you're at least trying not to cash in on this $10 million insurance policy. So he has to show him he has a bodyguard for her. And once he does that, time goes by. He says, fire the prick for incompetence or whatever, and you keep your money. It's all good. So he's just going through the motions. So that's why he doesn't care that he drinks. He's like, fuck it. You're only going to be here long enough for me to get my insurance, and I'm going to fire you anyway. So he don't even care. But even in the meantime, your drunk ass is going to be with my kid.
Right.
But he tells him, you know, hey, keep that between us. Boom, boom, boom. He's like, basically, you convince my wife, you know, and we're good, man. He don't even really care about anybody else. He just wants to get this insurance policy to be renewed, and that's basically it. He thinks so everything will just be fine.
Right. Yep. And Joe Mello mentions Denzel was in the movie Flight as a functional drunk. Yeah, I never saw that movie, but I heard.
Oh man, he was faded. Yeah, that's a good movie. That's a really good movie too.
Yeah.
He was shit faced.
Denzel movie. Come on.
Yeah.
So we meet the adorable. I think it's Dakota Fanning, right?
Yes.
And she's great. She's very precocious in this. Which you got to write that carefully, and they did, because a precocious child could be like bad. It could be annoying.
Yep.
You know, where they're like just shitting on the adults and stuff, and she's not. She's a realistic.
She's just real curious. You know, she wants to know stuff, and she reminds me of my daughter. Very precocious, very outgoing, and you know, questions, and you know, if you let her, she'll have your whole life in 20 minutes. But how'd you know that? Oh, they told me. Why did they tell you? I asked them. You know, she's very precocious like that, and she, like you said, there's a very good balance. You know, she wasn't annoying. She's very respectful, Mr. Creasy, and yes sir, no sir, and all this. Really good kid. I think that's what helped it not be annoying, is that she was a good kid. She wasn't a bad kid. She didn't backtalk her parents or anything like that. She was just a really good kid, you know, which is why, you get kind of attached to her even more. But he is not responsive to that. He is very prickly and very, I'm here to do a job, kid. Scram.
Yeah. Yeah, right here, John notes that Denzel Washington was so impressed with Dakota Fanning's acting that he'd watch her and forget he was in the scene, from Internet Movie Database. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, he goes to the house. He meets the mom and the dad, and the mom and the dad are discussing and they tell the daughter to take him to show him, I guess, the room where the former bodyguard used to stay.
Yeah.
Right. That's why him and her start talking, and she's asking him a million questions, and
like they do.
Yeah, it's very interesting stuff. She takes him up there. It's not a loft, but it has that feeling to it. You can see out in the city, and he has a papaguayo. He's a parrot up there that belonged to the former guard, right? His name was Milton or Milo or something like that, and he took
Armando or some shit. But he was very annoying. They are annoying to him. He did not like the bird at all. He fucking lets him go.
Well, the bird's name is funny. The bird's name is Bird.
Yeah,
and that is the kind of name that children give things. You know, they'll name a dog Doggy or something.
Yeah.
What do you call
Real
that?
fucking
table?
creative, you stupid kid.
Did your kids ever name any of your pets any funny names or anything like that? Or?
We don't have any pets yet. They had some fish, but my son has a stuffed tiger that he named Tiggy.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's pretty serious about that. It's the kind of toy where you gotta, when he's asleep one night, you take it and wash it because he won't fucking let it go.
Right. We have a basset hound whose name is Gene Parmesan. That is his name. My daughter named him. I did not know.
At your service. At your service, General.
It is I, Gene Parmesan, Inspector General.
And I mean, it's fun. I mean, we all joke about this kind of stuff, but I don't want us to ever be lying to our chat. Jericho actually called me up the other day and he said, "Hey, can you babysit my kids while we go out on a date?" And I said, "I drink." And he's like, "Fuck it, just don't tell my wife." That actually happened.
Right.
You know, I said I've got some priors and I drink, and Jericho's like, "Whatever, just don't tell her. Try to act soberish."
Keep that between us.
You know, and I was like, "Fine." You know,
she don't know it won't hurt her.
Yeah, that's how it always works. Yeah,
keeping secrets always works out.
And this is not a believable movie again because no father in their right mind who's living post the movie Bodyguard is gonna go, "Sure, I'll let Denzel Washington in my house with my hot wife. This is a great idea. He drinks, so sometimes he can get handsy. No, sir, out of my house."
Oh, that's another thing. When he's talking to Jordan Kalfas, when he's telling him about the policy, he says, "Yeah, just keep your wife happy." He's all, "Piece of ass like that is hard to come by." I'd be like, "Excuse me, motherfucker, what'd you say?" Like he has no respect for his wife, and he doesn't obviously doesn't value their relationship because to let somebody say something like that about your wife, this ain't your girlfriend, this ain't some booty call, this is your wife. There's certain shit you got to cut out and certain things you don't allow about your wife. And for somebody to say,
isn't that wild when you run into men, like grown men that don't know that don't know you don't say something about a dude's wife? That's insane to me.
That piece of ass like that's hard to come by. What the
right? Either like sexual like that or just like insulting or whatever.
Yeah.
I see the two guys like kind of arguing. I'm like, how come that other guy didn't know you don't say that?
Yeah,
that's like a real
what
weird
do they expect? Yeah, what do they expect you to do? Man, your wife is a fine piece of ass. Yeah, man, up high. Like, what the fuck do they think is gonna happen? Fuck.
Yeah, so he let that one slide. I was like, "Oh, you're a piece of shit." So, she takes him to the room and shows him, this is where you'll be staying, and like you said, asking him a million questions, and she has a million more once they get in the car.
Yep.
And then the next one is, are they in the car yet?
Not quite yet.
No.
It'll be just like a room face says her late husband had friends like that, and he would check them. Good.
Hell yeah.
Check them. Like, fuck you saying, man?
Yeah. Trying to get fucked up in here. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Let me hand you this barbecue fresh out the marinade.
You can say my car looks really nice, or my house looks really nice. You can compliment me that way. Don't be talking about my wife now.
Yeah, come on, man.
Depends on how far they take it, Gabe. I mean, if I come over to your house and go, "Man, I'd love to lay some pipe on your truck," you're still going to tell me I gotta go.
Hey, buddy, my truck don't swing that way.
Hey.
Easy, friend. That's my truck.
Get away from that tailpipe there. I know what's up. But yeah, he's sitting in the room, kind of taking stock and taking a drink. And that'll come back. This is his place where he faces his demons at night. He goes out, performs, protects her and stuff like he's supposed to. But at night, when he's left with his thoughts, it gets crazy. And again, he's a great actor, so of course he plays like a real, like, in a movie, a lot of the times drunk people are happy or something, I guess, for lack of a better word. But in this one, like, you really see he's dealing with some shit. This isn't no happy drinking. This is like drudging up bad memories and bad situations that he lived through. Because remember, he asked Christopher Walken, hey, is God going to forgive us for what we've done? So he's done some really bad shit. He's done bad shit so bad that it's starting to mess with him. It's starting to mess with his view of life and whether or not he's worthy of it. It's really starting to fuck with him.
Yeah, so this movie is from 2004, so it's near 20 years old. And one thing I like about it that they do a little bit too much of nowadays is they explain everything too much. There's too much exposition. And there's a concept the director J.J. Abrams gives a brilliant like TED Talk or YouTube video about called the mystery box. Think of the suitcase in Pulp Fiction. They open it and there's the golden light, and they never tell you what's in it. Mm-hmm. There's a character I've created in comics, and their name is an acronym. I'm not going to go into it right now, but it's a brilliant pun and this and that. And I never will tell you guys what it stands for, the letter. I'll never tell you, because when your imagination fills in the golden suitcase, or what did Denzel and Christopher Walken do that was so bad, but it made them a lot of money and all like brilliant like killers? What did they do? Nowadays, I think they would try and explain it too much. But when you don't explain it, what works on a psychological level is your imagination fills it in beautifully. You just get a pure feeling about it that has no mistakes or flaws in it. So it's really good storytelling to leave that alone. And instead, it's the old thing they tell you when you first learn about writing in the elementary school: show, don't tell. Right? Yeah. So don't tell me he killed these guys, he did this mission, he did this. He just, you know what? He drinks, he's unemployed, he hasn't shaved, and his friend and him talk about doing stuff. And the one friend's rich. Mm-hmm. And then your imagination fills it in perfectly. So I think that's really masterful writing there. I think it's good. And I think nowadays, if it was a Netflix show, they'd have 4 episodes explaining where I got this bottle of Jack Daniels on a certain mission. And it would be just too much exposition. And so thankfully, this doesn't have that.
Yeah, if I can add to that too, because Gabe, what you said was brilliant. And what you said about the way they show his drinking. But there was something even better about this that was something that I caught. I've definitely been in some experiences, and I had some experiences that were really tough. Obviously, nothing like what these characters are talking about, nothing on that scale. And you do get to a certain point to where there is, how do I put it? You are more likely to turn away from, self-destruction and giving into the pain of something, even if the answer is awful, if people are honest with you. And in a weird sort of way, when Chris Walken said no, he had one option: tell the guy the thing that they both know isn't true, or tell him the truth, and that is the thing that gives you the lifeline. You talk about people who've been through something horrible, and they ask you a question: am I ever going to forget this? Am I ever going to be able to, never think about this again? And if you look at them and you say, yeah, one day you'll be fine, it's the worst thing you can say to them. You want to look them dead in the eye, and you want to say, no, but you're going to be okay. Yeah, it's never gonna fade. Because that's a very critical moment in a friend's life, particularly because they've known each other forever. When he says he hasn't got any future plans, and he's down there because he just wanted to see the guy, get out of here, man.
Yeah, that's another thing he told him. Yeah, he's like, I just wanted to see you, almost like I just wanted to see you one more time. And another thing to speak to that, to echo that a little bit, Sean, is when he told him no, he didn't hesitate. He said no. He didn't give him hope. He didn't let him think, he didn't want him to think that he is going back and forth in his head. He just wanted to tell him straight up, no, we're not. We did some fucked up shit. No, because he knew that. He knew that. He just wanted, to see what he would tell him, and he was like, no, we're not. We're fucked. But anyway, he wants some tacos. It was like, hey, like you said,
right on.
We're not going to. So yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, and I love it how they just leave it up to you to feel it emotionally, and it comes across perfectly. Since I come from mainstream comic books, Marvel, DC, all that stuff, the most egregious example to me is Wolverine, a character that everyone loved, right, in the X-Men. And for decades, his origin in the comics was unknown. He would have nightmares about being captured and experiments done on him to give him metal claws. And he would have a nightmare that he was in the Civil War, but he was in World War II. And they wouldn't tell you what the deal was. Was he hundreds of years old and he could just renew himself always? Was it all fake? There were stories that said they were fake memories and this and that, but they wouldn't tell you. Then, like in the year 2000 or 2001, they did a story called Origin, where they told you everything about Wolverine and where he came from. I, to this day, have never read that because I don't want to know. It's not fun to know that. It's more fun that the guy has a hazy memory, and that is so much more fun to know. So, So I love this kind of storytelling where they just figure it out, man. You're like, you're not an idiot, figure it out. It's great.
And he's pounding it. You know what I mean? Shit. He's pouring shot after shot. He's getting faded.
Well, look at the daylight out the window, by the way. He's going with some
like
brown
4 p.m.
some brown liquor.
5 o'clock somewhere.
He's like, Peter, you good? You good for the night? Because I'm gonna go.
They're a real booze hound when they say, "Hey, it's noon somewhere."
That's right.
Hey, it's 7 a.m. somewhere. Pass me
Pouring
that.
it over those Cheerios and just going to town.
Yeah, man.
He's hardcore.
He's feeling it, and he's having a moment with this bird. Like, dude, you either shut the fuck up or I'm gonna let you go. Like, he's that he's not soft at all on any level to any body, to any living thing except Christopher Walken, because whatever the shit was that they were in it together. So that's the only person that he really kind of gives any leeway to, and he's not rude at all in any way. He's just very upfront, very abrupt and brutally honest. Even with the little girl.
Right. Yeah. So I get this. I hope this isn't out of order, my photos, but I have this snippet here. Did this come in at this point, or is this from the very beginning? I'm unsure.
I think it's from the very beginning, but either way.
These two got stacked in the middle. This was the guy that got kidnapped, and then the gangsters that kidnapped were saying, "Hey, the signal is waving the shirt and this and that." I don't know how that got. Yeah, this was all that stuff you're talking about. How did this get stuffed in here? Oh man. Give me a second. I'm going to take these down and make sure they're in the right order. Can you two vamp for me for a minute?
Who stuffed it?
Just work on that for me for a second. I'm gonna be ordering these real quick because they're some out of order. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so he's in the room and he's kind of getting situated. He's letting the bird know where he stands. And I'm sure if the bird had stayed quiet, they could have been longtime roommates. But the bird is just pretty annoying. So he let him go. And then what's cool, later in the movie, she asked him. Or she's like, "Oh, he must have gotten out," and he was like, "No, I let him go." Even in that moment, he could have said, "Oh yeah, shit. Oh, I must have gotten out. Hey, Mr. Bird," but he's like, "No, I let him go." He's like, he's fucking annoying. He's all, "Yeah." She goes, "Yeah, it's better to be free." And he's like, "Yeah, I guess." But he's still not. And you would think, by this time in a different movie, they would have been buddies. Like, "Hey, little kid, I thought the world was bad, but you made me think it was good." But he's not there. He's not there. He's still, this is a job. I'm here to get a paycheck. I'm here to protect you. And he will. He told Mark Anthony, the dad, Samuel Ramos, he asked him, he said, "So if there's a kidnapping attempt, what would you do?" He's like, "Well, the performance will be on par with the pay, but I'll probably kill him." And it's not, I don't think he would be in the heat of the moment and be like, "Well, I'm not going to shoot that guy because you're only paying me X amount of dollars a month." I think he would wipe everybody out, who made an attempt to kidnap her, but he told him straight up, again, that honesty. Hey, it's going to be on par with the pay. You pay me like shit, that's what you're going to get. But, I'll protect your kid. I'll bring her home. I'll tear these dudes up.
Do you think that brutal honesty he had is mostly about him, like, wanting to end his life, or just kind of like, do you think, because that's what I inferred, that, like, he has no time for pretense. Like, whatever, he might be dead soon or whatever. He just, when he said he had no plans for the future, I feel like that's why he's just so honest. Like, who cares,
Yeah, and I think it's his lack of experience with humanity. Again, they did some shit. They did some really bad things to where he's questioning God's forgiveness. So he's probably been doing that for a very long time. And there's no Mrs. Creasy. There's no little Creasys. He's just been whatever this ghost is. This whatever he needed to be, this assassin or whatever. That's what he's been doing. So he hasn't had time to entertain little kids and their feelings and their little questions and shit. He's just,
that's a terrible place for a person to be, is like questioning God's forgiveness. If you're a person of Christian faith, there's forgiveness no matter what, and that's just shows how horrible he is mentally right now, what a state he's in, just drinking to numb it, and then just thinks he's so awful he can't be forgiven. That's terrible.
Yeah, the things he must have done must have been, whew.
Yeah,
must have been some real bad shit. And this is the first Lethal Weapon kind of scene where he every night he gets drunk, stares at the picture of Vicky, and puts a gun to his head, and to think how bad life would be to where you get this close, the gun is to your head, your finger is on the trigger, you sneeze and boom, you're dead or whatever. It's, man, that's harsh, and he struggles with it. But I think his sense of duty is what keeps him from doing it, because is this a job that he took? Does he give a shit? Not a lot, but it is a job. I think his sense of duty pulls him back from the ledge.
Right.
Is this when he does it or when he doesn't do it? Because he does do it.
No, I don't think this is the one where he calls.
Yeah. Because there's a beautiful thing about this, and because you brought up Lethal Weapon, which I do love Lethal Weapon, but this is better. This is 100% better.
I'm just saying the sense of this scene, where he puts the gun to his head. Yeah.
I feel like I'm Robert Downey. I'm trying to agree with you, man. No, but seriously, I look at this and I'm going, I think they're both great. And Lethal Weapon is not this kind of movie. I mean, you've got like Danny Glover and the All-American Family. We'll get to this family in a bit. Not the All-American Family, but this is the thing too. There's no Trish in this house. But anyway, sorry, I got upset. But the thing about it is that what I found really amazing is how, and this is a Denzel thing, man, how faith works its way into this film. Yeah. This idea of, and I think there's something beautiful in the chat too as well, and I think it was Rumafe who said it, but or maybe not, but it was it was a little while back. Every Christian has that moment when we think God won't love us again, and I thought it is such a very beautiful and poignant thing, because in this character's life, he cannot conceive, much like he responds to honesty and straight talkers, and until he meets a particular opposite end of the spectrum straight talker who forces him to confront that idea, it almost, and it does not assist him with this particular issue he's having, but it contextualizes what comes next. And that's the thing about this, that we've done three Denzel Washington movies, and two have had this element in it in a very beautiful way, with gravity and his acting. And again, not a cartoon of somebody who's got a drinking problem. Not he's trying to, when he's doing the game with the bullet and he's trying to like catch it, and you're seeing his reflexes dulled. It's like he's lost so much of himself, and I just love this character. He's a masterful actor. Just amazing.
And it's like he wasn't alone. He's not alone in the room. Like, he's talking to somebody. He's mumbling and shit, like he's talking to someone, like these memories or him, in him in his head or something. But he's struggling with some shit. But then, sun comes up, whatever time in the morning he wakes up, he's on the job. You would never know that he damn near killed himself, in the room upstairs. It's Denzel, shit.
Right. Yeah. So the family he's working for, I don't think we mentioned, it was Mr. Ramos and his wife. She's an American. Yeah. And then he's some sort of Mexican businessman. I don't know how he's wealthy, but he's
like automotive manufacturing or something. Okay. It says later he's trying to get Ford and shit to come down there and open some factories. He really needs to make the deal to save his business. And again, with the lighting, this kind of bluish, with his hand in the orange light. And there's a scene later on where they really hit you with the blue and the orange. And it was I thought about you guys when I saw that scene, but man, he's really struggling. He's really living two lives at this point.
Right. Real quick, Hunch has something for you. Jericho, is it a lack of humanity or seeing too much of humanity without the veil of civility? What do you think of that?
I'll take the latter. That sounds like a much fancier way to say what I was saying.
Hey, chat, man.
Yeah, I think the things that they've done are very uncivil, very barbaric. But again, that sense of duty, I think, is what made him plow through that. Like all these horrors that he had to visit upon people. I'm sure there was some torture in there, really bad thing, a lot of screaming and blood and stuff like that. But he was under orders, or he was under contract. He was under something. There was his sense of duty to something that made him turn a blind eye to this really bad shit up until this point.
Yeah. Oh, and Steve Holt, he does point this out. The orange teal look was what they leaned on back then. Yeah, I remember seeing a whole thing about that when I was in college. That so many of the posters for Hollywood movies were orange and green and orange and blue and orange and teal and stuff like that. But yeah, I love it. I think that warm cool is gorgeous like that.
Yeah, and it played well. They played with it well in this movie. But man, oh man, yeah, that is the one. He did try it because he's calling him in the middle, like 2-3 in the morning. He calls him and he says, "Hey man, what's going? Are you up or some shit like that?" He's like, "Yeah, Crease, I'm just sitting here watching TV." He's dead asleep. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm just watching TV."
Right there, that shows the brotherhood they have. Again, show, don't tell. Christopher Walken lies to him, says, "Oh no, I was up watching TV to like make his friend comfortable. You're not putting me out. You didn't wake me up in the middle of the fucking night, calling me at 3 a.m. Like, no,
I know why you're calling me.
You know, I was painting the house. What do you mean?
I was under the car changing that carburetor. You know, what's going on, kid?
So again,
on top of the
that show don't tell is great. They're like they're bros. Think of the amount of people you can call at 3 a.m, right? Is that
not a long list?
People? I could call. Who could I call that lit? I could call my wife. I could call my brother.
Yeah.
And that's probably about it.
My mom. I could call my mom. Yeah, but yeah, it's a short list. It's a very elite group of people. And that's how it should be. Like, you know, you keep your real ones, you keep them close and you keep that list small. You keep it short. But yeah, he's man, no, man, I was up. It's 2 a.m. Who's not up at 2 a.m. in the middle of the week? What's up? And he says, he tells him,
John, that's a child. That's his baby snuck into bed with him.
Yeah.
That's like a 7-year-old. That's like his kiddo.
He's like, I was up, I was playing Tetris. You know, like what it's like walking, like, what are you doing?
So he tells him, he's like, hey, you ever have a bullet, a 9mm round not fire? He's like, oh, it could be a bad primer or something like that. He's like, yeah, it could be a dimple in the primer or whatever. He's like, you're right. He's like, why? What were you shooting at? Never mind, man. It's all good. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Because he knew what was up. He knew, it was like, hey, man, you're not fucking trying to kill yourself, are you? And he's like, no, nothing. I'll talk about it. No problem. See you later. Bye. And he's like, man, bye.
You call someone at 3 a.m. to ask them about guns not firing correctly.
It was a real cry for help. It was a real cry. But you don't, and I'm sure he didn't expect, oh my, Crease, oh my God, are you okay? Like, he couldn't react like that. Like, he knew how he needed to react. He knows his friend. He knows, obviously, he's going to come to me when he's really feeling bad. This is the second time he's done it.
And I got to say this again. This is brilliant writing, and I want people to think about this for a moment, right? The question, which we're all aware of, you get this sense of, and this is such a brilliant part of it. He's just talked to a nun earlier that day.
Right.
And is this the part where they introduce that the bullets don't lie?
Right.
Into this?
Never lie. Yeah.
The bullets never lie, right? And he is having the sense that this was some type of miracle. But he calls the pragmatist to explain it in a way that is scientific, that makes sense, but also the bullets don't lie thing is a tip of the hat to that without saying it overt, because this is not somebody you're going to sell poetry to. Even if he has it in his heart, you'll kill it if you tell him you see it. You can't be doing that. And so he's got this pragmatist with him. I mean, it is so brilliant. I could think about this script all day. It's beautiful.
When he meets the sister at the little girl, he takes her to the school. It's a Catholic private school there in Mexico City. And when he takes the girl there, everyone's happy to see her because she hasn't been in school for a few weeks or months, is what they kind of allude to, because of maybe kidnapping threats or something like that. And but when he meets the sister, she says to him, like, no offense, but I wish your profession didn't exist. And
he says, me neither.
Yeah. But she starts to tell him the Bible verse, and then he quotes it to her. Do not be overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. And and then he tells her he's the sheep that got lost.
Yeah, so she asks him, she says, do you ever see the hand of God in what you do? He says, no. And she says that, and he finishes the line for her, and he says, I'm the sheep that got away, Madre.
Right. So in his core, he's a moral man who cares about right and wrong, because when you feel bad about things, it's because you care. I coached football forever, and it's like, one thing about being a football player, let's say, if you're not playing good and the coach doesn't yell at you, he doesn't care. He thinks you
Gave
can't
up.
do it. But if he yells at you and he's like, you're going to stay after practice and run it, it's because he thinks you have potential and maybe some discipline and correction will improve you. And I think when someone is just so out there on an island, as this character is saying, he's the sheep that got got lost, he just feels the one thing we're never supposed to feel in life, despair.
Yeah,
Despair is
hopeless.
He gave up. It's forget it, man. You know, so and that's why he's doing this at 3 a.m. Well, this guy's mowing his yard at 3 a.m.
He's all we power down the mower. Yeah, what's up, Chris? Nah, just out here doing some yard work, pruning.
Just firing up the barbecue now that you're safely away. You dirty animals licking your fingers and touching them.
Yeah.
No, but this is the thing, man. Is that here's another aspect to it. Is that she says what she says. This is the conversation versus the action. God, him standing out in the rain. You don't get any more beautiful
Tony
metaphors.
Scott rain.
The Tony Scott rain, man.
That's right.
But she wins. She wins the battle of his mind because she says, "Do you ever see the hand of God in what you do?" Mm-hmm. And then he puts this to his head. Now this is after Pulp Fiction when he says, "Are you telling me, Jules, that God reached out and stopped those bullets?" So it's an interesting kind of cinema thing. Like why? Oh, and it's in the movie The Relic. Tom Sizemore keeps a bullet with him that didn't go off when some guy had him dead to rights, and it's his lucky bullet. He goes, "I beat the crap out of him. Took it out, nothing wrong with the bullet, had the forensic look at it, it's my lucky bullet." This is an ongoing thing. But her words got to him because reality just messed with his head, in his state. If that gun goes off, he dies. If a 1 in a million things happens, he lives. It's very difficult for this character to reconcile it, which is probably the only way that unbreakable but tiny fiber of faith that he has in him could assert itself, and it did. And all else that follows is a result of that. It is amazing.
As artists, as performers, we inject so much of ourselves into our art. It's literally self-expression. And very, very sadly, the director of this movie committed suicide in like 2010 or 2011.
Yeah, jumped off a bridge.
Jumped off a bridge in Long Beach or Malibu somewhere. And I wonder, the theming here in this movie, 2004, he kills himself like 7 years later. I wonder if he was having like ideation, like suicidal thoughts and going through something hard. It's very sad, but as an artist, you put yourself into what you're doing a lot and you deal with things. I know the things that I write, the things that I draw, they do have something to do with me. Not completely, but oftentimes they say write what you know. Well, you don't even have to tell people that. That's what people want to write about. It is self-expression. So I do wonder just how personal and how poignant this movie was to the director himself. I do wonder about that. So, and I think it's like a tragically kind of beautiful thing. I don't mean to be trite about it. Like it's a movie and that's a real life. But, I wonder if there was satisfaction for him to like maybe deal with some of the feelings he had making the movie. But I'm just speculating. So.
Yeah, it's a really good scene here, man. It's a really good scene. He's so that's her parents. They're going out of town, which they do twice in this movie. So, and you could tell when they say goodbye to her, like she's not hugging her. She's looking down. She's sad. It's kind of like, yeah, I know. See you later. She doesn't want him to go. Of course, she wants her parents to be there, but they're always jet setting and going to business and, having the staff probably knows her better than her parents. Her staff has probably helped her with more things and seen more moments in her life than her own parents because they're always, out and about and, going in here and there and flying around the world. So Creasy, although he's not all super warm and cuddly with her, he's still an adult figure in her life responsible for her safety. Somebody has to feed her. Somebody has to get her to school and make sure she's up to get dressed. So, him and the staff are forced into the role of her parent because her real parents are just like, peace out, kid. We'll be back in fucking 2 weeks. Bye.
Right. I'll send you a postcard.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's messed up for the poor kid, and she's an only child, so it's not like she has any siblings to share this experience with. So it's fucked up, and her parents don't even notice that. Don't even notice that she's all sad. They're not even like heartbroken. Oh, babe, I wish I did. Honey, maybe you can go this time or. Nothing. It's just like, mwah, mwah, bye.
Right.
She's not even looking at her. She don't even care. She's not even hugging her. And she kissed her on the forehead. So man, there's not a lot of affection. here.
Can I add the question to both of you gentlemen, though?
Yes,
Because you were talking about if you found out that a bodyguard had a drinking issue. Yes, and I want to get to Hunch's comment too as well. But if you found out, you'd feel a little uncomfortable. If kidnappings were running rampant in your town and you had to hire a discount bodyguard, would you go out of town and leave your kid unattended?
Yeah, perfect time.
Yeah. Sorry,
perfect time. Yeah, babe, make sure we schedule all of our out of town trips at the height of kidnap season.
Yes.
Let's just get out of here. Let's just get away. Let's get out of town. Yeah, it's messed up on a lot of levels, you know, and they're pretty shitty parents, to be honest.
Right.
I don't understand why
we'll get a little more into that with the swimming and all that. But quick, Hunch for $5. Thank you, friend. To be fair, Sean, this is based off a book, so they had some written lore to develop story. Yeah, absolutely.
Right
but there are plenty of movies that blow right past the book. You know, the source material. They don't even pay attention to it. You know, so I'm glad that they did.
What do you mean? I remember all those black dwarves when I read The Lord of the Rings in high school.
Yeah, Troy. Man. Troy's black now too, by the way. I remember that.
Oh, you talking about is it the Greek stuff? Are they redoing Achilles and Troy?
Yeah, Achilles is black now.
Okay. I guess.
Okay.
All right.
Can I just say that is like just this whole aspect of things is very, very strange. Everybody should know this. No matter where you were in the world, in history, you had a British accent. Like there's certain things we can roll with, right? That we're
Britain was out of control. Britain.
But if you drop an Indian guy in the middle of Greece, people are gonna probably go, I mean, maybe, but it's just gonna seem like, and I mean with an accent. Like you couldn't do a Greek movie unless it was a Bollywood movie where all the Greeks had an Indian accent, but they were just as Indian accented as they were British. So there's
that
phone
center, the phone center accent.
Oh, exactly. It's like, I've come here to crush my enemies, see them driven before me, and to hear the lamentation of the women. It's just not going to work, man.
Listen, Sanjay, that's great, but I still need your help with my computer hard drive. So
it's
do I need to
Sandeep. We're not all the same. We just have the same accent.
Sandeep. Listen, I just need you to help me with the hard drive. That's all I'm saying.
Let me tell you something. I'm looking at this right now, and I'm saying we have 43 watching now, and so I'm wondering why we don't have more. Is this not being on the Twitter? Are they not tweeting out? They should be tweeting it, because as I look at this, I say to myself, that is a C-. Why not an A? Are you Asians or Bejans in the chat? So I want to see you people tweet it out. This is like less than pre-med. All right, let's continue. I don't want to talk.
I don't like angry Indian father Sean. He's a scary guy. I don't like this.
I look at them and I'm like, shut it.
Goodness. But yeah, one thing where Denzel and the little girl really start to bond is over swimming. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really sad to like a kid's at their swim meet or whatever after school and the parents aren't there. And I know some parents have to work and they can't make every game, but my goodness, you should make as many as you can. You know, it's going to go by fast. Yeah. But he's there as a surrogate father, and she's saying she never wins and she's the slowest one. And he tells her she's not a slow swimmer. She's slow off the blocks. So he starts training her at home by, I think he's, clacking some wood or something and making big loud noises and teaching her how to get that first step, get that jump going and stuff. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And that's really what they start to bond over is her swimming. And it is really sad to see that her parents are not there yelling and screaming. My kids, I don't think I ever missed a game of theirs. And my daughter's theater and all that, never missed it. Like not once.
Yeah, same here.
So
my daughter too.
Right. My daughter's what am I doing this so important that I can't go down to the high school and watch the game?
Yeah. And this shows, I think this kind of gives us a peek into what he used to do, whatever it was, because he's like a natural at training people. He tells, are you trained or untrained? Trained or untrained? All this kind of give these kind of slogans that he has and these motivational phrases and words that he has for her, and the whole, the shot, the sound, the starter pistol is setting you free. Don't anticipate it. Don't be afraid of it. He's all, you're waiting for it to set you free. So when you hear that shot, that's freedom. Don't be afraid. Want it. Be looking forward to it. This is giving you freedom. Don't be scared. This is an opportunity. He said, "You're a fast swimmer, but you're slow out of the blocks." Or he asked her something about the time. I'm something about. He's like, and asked her, "Well, what does that mean?" That means I need to get faster out of the blocks. He's like, "All right, then let's go." And he's again he's not coddling her. He's not being, "Oh, it's okay, honey. Let's go. Stop again. Stop. Get out. Let's go." And boom, go. Stop. Get out. So he's being tough on her, but this is what she wants. He may be being tough on her, but this is time. This is attention.
Well, this is the beauty of why it's so evil and insidious of like leftist feminist assholes to like create this fake concept of toxic masculinity. Because again, I coached forever soccer, I coached football forever, and my teams were always super successful because I had great coaches when I was younger. And when someone coaches you and they're hard on you, but they're not mean, you could feel the best kind of coaching is the kind I love to do. Is the players know you love them, but you're not letting them get away with bullshit. And when you push people and they know that you love them and you're one of them and you're in it through thick or thin with them, what they realize is you believe in them. And that's that thing I told you before. If you're a football player and you're screwing up and the coach isn't yelling at you or punishing you, that is a horrible sign. That means he doesn't believe in you at all. But if he's pushing this little girl and pushing her and not letting her lie or whine or be lazy or skip things, it's because he believes in her potential. And that is one of the most beautiful aspects of masculinity, is that ability to coach, to push people further, and they could be more than they ever dreamed they could be. I love that concept so much because it meant so much to me growing up. And then in my own life as a coach, it meant so much to me because so many people feel defeated and isolated and like a loser and an outcast and a weirdo. And if you can touch people and let them know that they have potential to be great if they just work hard and grit, man, it's a thing of beauty. And he does this for her. And that is a real act of love from one human to another. I think it's a spectacular thing to see. Let me see this real quick. Joe Mello, thank you, friend, $10. Hey, Double Impact brothers and chat family, just dropped a line to say what's up. I only saw this movie once at my aunt's house in SoCal the year it came out, so I'll have to watch it again myself. Yeah, man, check it out. It's a good one.
Definitely.
It's very deep.
Absolutely.
Not at all what I thought. I thought this was John Wick starring Denzel Washington. That's what I thought it was.
Now, did we pass the scene where they're in the car and they kind of have a falling out in the car?
Yeah.
I think we did. Yeah, I don't have as many pictures this week. We got a lot going on here with the baby and a lot of stuff. So my daughter, she didn't get as many this week. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Because so before this scene, they're in the car and he's driving her to school. Or is it to school? Yeah, I think it's to school. Or is it from school? Either way, he's driving. And she's asking him a bunch of questions like, what about this? And what about that? You have a girlfriend? Blah, 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 blah. He's like, look, I'm not paid to be your friend. I'm paid to be your bodyguard. Okay. So no more questions. That's it. And she turns and looks out the window. He's like, and no crying either. She's like, I'm not crying. He's like, good. Well, don't start. He tells her, he's like, well, don't start. And he's really, tough on her. Really almost, I don't think he's trying to be mean, but that's just his lack of, spending time around kids. He's just like, well, don't start, no crying. She's like, I'm not crying. Like, she's tough. She's like, well, fuck you. I'm not crying. You're going to make me cry. You're just an asshole. So he tells that to her. And so while he's telling her that, he's like telling her this in the middle of something, he comes to a light and all these kids come over and start spraying the window. Let me clean your window, limpia, and all this shit, trying to sell stuff. And he pulls his gun out. He's like, hey, no. He's telling these kids, no, back up. I'm good. No, thank you. No more. Back up. And they keep coming from all these angles. It's all this shit's happening. And you're thinking, oh, shit, something's about to go down. He's going to shoot somebody. And he pulls the gun out. He can see these are kids, but he's like, hey, if you try to get in this car, I'm going to fucking shoot you, kid. So he's serious about his shit. And then he tells her, that's when he finishes telling her, hey, don't start crying. And then he's paying attention to her and he looks up. There's a car. He slams on his brakes. She opens the door and gets out and she runs around. So he's like, hey, Peter. And he gets out and he runs around the car. He thinks she's going to take off running. But all she's doing is getting from the front seat to the back seat, saying, cool, you don't want to be friends? Because she was sitting in the front. She's telling him, cool, you don't want to be friends? I'll sit back here. You can just drive. I'll just be, your client. So she's she's a formidable little kid, and she wasn't disrespectful to him. She just got out and got in the back.
It is amazing that a little girl, I don't know how old this kid was here.
She's like 9.
Yeah, that she could act that well. It's kind of astonishing. A lot of time child actors, but what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, it's like my wife and I, we've always called it Barney acting, like, Barney, the other kids won't let me jump rope. Well, okay, buddy. It's because you got boogers all over your face.
Yep.
It's because you look like a fucking dork.
I wouldn't play with you either with those glasses, asshole.
Before
I'm gonna walk away from
Jericho
you right now.
Before Jericho was in the Navy, he was actually fired as the voice talent for Barney when he just got a little too real with the kids.
Yeah,
that's why you never heard of it. Half an episode.
Here's
too real with the kids.
Too real.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about this, though. We know he's a hard ass. We know what he respects in people. He respects a sister with some experience who can look you dead in the eye. He respects an old friend who can say, no, there is no forgiveness. And this is the only little girl he could come to care for. Because she's tough as nails. And he knows there's a person in there, but it's such a metaphor for what he's going through. I mean, it's such a contrast of like what he's going for. Because she's the kind of little kid that could get to him because she didn't cry. Do you know what I mean? Like, so he what he said to her didn't give him over and over. He tries to get a calculated effect. He's like Sam Jackson in Pulp Fiction, where he's like, tell me there's hope in this world. I dare you. I double dare you. And people are like, there's no hope. And it's like, shit. Right. Now I've got to think about why I asked. If you tell him there's hope, if she cries, it's just another affirmation of this weak world that does not know what he has seen.
See? Told you. And after that, later that night when he gets home, the mother comes into the room to talk to him. And he goes, she's like, yeah, Peter told me, or what is she's like, oh, how's things going? How are things going? He's like, oh, they're fine. As soon as she learns that I'm not her plaything, that I'm here to do a job. She's like, yeah, she told me about that. He was like, I'm here to do a job. I'm not here to be your friend and, be her, her buddy and shit. I'm here to do it. I'm here for what you're paying me for. She's like, that's fine. He's like, you know what? This ain't going to work out. Just go ahead and pay me for my time. I'll get out of here. And she's like, no, that's fine. Tomorrow, after I'll ride with you. And then after take me here and there, whatever. So yes, ma'am, no problem. And so the next day, the mother is riding in the car with them. And he asks Peter for a pencil. So he almost has to tuck his tail a little bit, and be like, Peter, I need a pencil. And so she hands him a pencil because there's a car following him, and he's writing down the license plate number, but he doesn't get the whole thing. And since he's concentrating on that car, he's coming down the hill and he slams on his brakes because he's about to go through an intersection. And the mom goes, yeah, it takes a while to get used to the driving around here. He's like, sorry about that. But the mom totally didn't know, but the little girl did. Because she tells him, I know what you were doing when you asked for my pencil. He's like, what? She's like, you were looking for that. You were trying to write down that license plate number. She's like, I got the whole thing except for the last number. So she's very precocious, and I think she's forced into it almost. She wants to be a little kid, but her parents are gone. So she's left with these adults. So she's hanging out with adults all the time. So she's kind of trying to be on their level. But she's an amazing little actress, man. She held her own. There was none of that shit, like Gabe was saying, none of that kid acting. She was awesome, man. And she gave it right back to him. Like when she hopped out of the car. Cool. You want me to just be your client? Fuck it. I'll sit in the back. And she told her mom about it. And so as far as they knew, the new understanding was, I'm Creasy the bodyguard, not Creasy your buddy. And that's how they handle it. But then her parents leave. And so he's not opening up and showing this soft, gooey inside. But he's like, cool, you need to be trained? That's my thing. So let's train. And he starts helping her, with her swimming. And she responds to it because no matter, it might be rough, tough love attention, but it's attention from an adult, that she's not getting from her parents, like one-on-one attention. The staff, I'm sure they're working while she's talking to them or whatever. They can't just sit there and chill.
Yeah. If I can reiterate this again, that kids need this so much. Like all people need this. They need that adult that is being hard on them because they love them. And I told you guys, I coach Pop Warner football, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, and we had one kid named Michael. It was an undefeated team I coached in 2007, the Bittersweet Bengals. Bittersweet was the park we practiced at. And we got biggest kid on the team named Mike. And he was he was just a little flower. He used to talk like this, and he didn't like to tackle anyone, and he would cry if he got hit. And we stuck with him. We didn't make fun of him. We're like, you could do it. You could do it. And one of the coaches came up with a nickname for Mike. He was the M Train. And all of a sudden, all this attention we gave him, and you can do it, and no, put your foot here, put your hand here. All of a sudden, like 4 games of the season, he just became something else, and he became a monster. And he's just tackling everyone on the other team and blocking for the running back. And that wasn't the only time I saw that. I one of my favorite stories of coaching football and this kind of stuff that kids need so bad. There was a kid I knew, coached him in football in 2009, and it was his first time ever playing football. He was 7 years old, playing on an 8-year-old team because he was big. And it was August is when practice starts. It's blazing hot for San Diego, not that hot, but hot for here. And we're running. We have to run 2 laps around the football field or whatever. And he starts crying. And I go up to him. I say, "Hey, buddy, don't cry. It's going to be okay." He said, "It's hard." And I tell him, "Listen." And I bend down to his level, put my hand on the shoulder. I say, "Listen, I'm going to be here every day. I love coaching you guys. I'm going to run with you. If you don't stop, I won't stop. And if you come back tomorrow, I'll come back tomorrow. And I promise you, I'll be your coach every day." That kid got a Division I scholarship 9 years later. You know what I mean? It was a star player in San Diego high school. And I was there the first day he did it. Now, I'm not taking credit for what he did. He's the one that lifted the weights and ran and all that. But you need people like that in your life to look you in the eyes and say, "I'm proud of you. I believe in you."
Yeah.
I tell people that all the time. And I think most people they never hear those kind of words.
And I'll tell you something. I've talked to you guys about this story, but I had a student. I had a student out of Houston, and was just. Or actually, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. He went to the college that I taught at, and I'll tell you, it takes a hell of a lot to make it to snatch a teacher's love of teaching from them. It takes DEI to do that. Let me be really clear. But so this guy, I was born in Houston. He was born in Houston. His name was Darian. Terrific guy. Shout out if you're out there, man. And he, I don't know what the deal was with him, but he had 2 surgical scars down the top of his head, and then a scar that ran down his mouth, and he was missing an ear. And he always, so it was a birth. It was clearly a birth thing, and he always wore a hat. And but even though I didn't have him as a student, man, he would come by and ask for advice, and I would always, talk to him. And my last day teaching that semester, and he was going to graduate, he asked if he could swing by, and I just said to myself, as soon as you have these weird intuition things, and I was like, I better leave my paints out, because I think he's going to ask me to paint him. Did not know why, but just had that sort of sense. He comes in the room, as God is my witness, he comes in the room, and he says to me, he's like, "Shanth, I wanted to ask you a question." And I was tired. I had a 90-mile drive home, man. It's late. It's being home at maybe 10 or 11 and Boston traffic. But he comes in and he goes, "I had an interesting conversation. I was talking about how my drawing isn't very good." Now, this guy, to his credit, never mentioned or talked about it, nor did I, because that's just how I roll. It's if someone wants to talk about something, they can talk about it. But I'm going to look at people for what they do, how they act, and whatever else. And I said to him, I said, "Hey, man," I go, "Yeah, really?" He goes, "Yeah, this guy said I need to work on my art." And he said, but the reason why he said he got so good at his art is because he did a lot of self-portraits. And I said, "Okay, well, maybe you should do some self-portraits." And he said to me, he goes, "I don't like to do self-portraits because whenever I look in the mirror, I see a monster." He had never said it before, but he dropped that on me. And I was like, I'm going to have to paint this fucking kid now. And but I looked at him and I said, "Do you find it hard to paint yourself in a way to where you see yourself truly?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Well, it's not because you look like a monster. It's because you're a shit painter." And it was dead silent. And I busted out my acrylics and my brushes, and I painted him, and I said, "First of all, you're the only monster I know who has a girlfriend. Or am I right on that?" He's like, "Yeah, he's the greatest guy, this kid. He's terrific." And I said, "So here's what it is. Your eyes are wide set this." And I explained to him why his face was worthy of the subject of painting. And I took a picture with him, selfie of him holding up the painting. I said, "Never forget this day, man. Because it's those little moments that you do in people's lives. You have to do that shit." And it all started with him looking for a stapler and me taking the time to find him a stapler, and he started coming around. Do you know what I'm saying? Asking me questions about painting. Never had him as a student, spent so much time talking to him. You've got to be there for people, man. You've got to do this shit.
Yep.
And Denzel can fucking sell it like nobody else in this movie, man. Love him.
Yeah, sure did.
You know, I sent you guys this the other day, I think, on Instagram. You know, I sent you guys.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what this is? This is Brian Knapp. Thank you, Brian. I just sent you guys this yesterday.
Yes, you did.
That is a football cleat. Like, well, that doesn't look like any shoe I've ever seen. The man in the NFL who held the record for the longest field goal for almost 40 years. Jason Elam broke the record in the late 90s on the Denver Broncos. But this man, Tom Dempsey, look at his hand and his foot.
Yep.
He doesn't fucking have them. But he set the record for kicking, and his kicking foot basically doesn't exist. You understand? You out there, listen, you hear the sound of my voice, you are capable of so much.
Amen.
And your one life is going by like that, right? 2023 already. Who could believe it, right? Do not let people talk you into shit, guilt you into shit, and let you live this stupid life that they decide for you. You live your damn life. You find out what's right. You live righteous. You live good. You trust God. You work hard, all that stuff. But don't let people pressure you and tell you can't do stuff. And get your head out of the clouds. My daughter, she's a paid professional comedian, as I always brag about. She's had people, friends, she thought, tell her, oh, come on. That's so unrealistic. You need to find a real job and this and that. And the first day she got paid to be a comedian, not open mics, she made sure to post it on Instagram for that person to see. So whenever you're feeling crappy, Tom Dempsey, I think he got a nub here with like 2 little fingers and like no foot. And he had the record for the longest kick.
Yeah, that dude had groupies.
Right.
There were chicks like outside the locker room. Hey, Tana, let me see your foot.
Right. But that's why this is so important. And what Denzel's doing here is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And you think of a man at the edge who doesn't think God can forgive him, drinking, wants to kill himself. This little girl, it's reciprocal. The love he's giving her is coming back to him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because he's like, oh, I'm not just an assassin killer. I'm a good man that can love people. And look, it takes bravery to love people, to love this little girl. I can love her, and the love comes back to him. You know what I mean? And it's changing his life. It's a beautiful idea. It's a beautiful story, you know?
Yeah, and he's training her. You know, he's...
Think about what you like to think. This show helps me when I'm feeling depressed. You talking about the movie? You're talking about us. If we're helping you, well, then thank you. That's humbling, man. That's what we want to do.
Good to see you here.
We want to make you laugh and encourage people.
Absolutely.
You know? And think about what you'd think about if someone told you you're a loser, you can't do it, this and that. Fake news. You can do anything like that guy with the half foot. Just work hard.
Tell him to eat a dick.
That's right.
That's what you tell him.
Right. Right. Serve it cold, baby. Don't even tell them nothing. Just go do your work and succeed. That's the revenge. Yep. The best revenge is what I showed you and Jericho before the show. That's the revenge when people are shit talking you. You just go get it done. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
And tell them to eat a dick.
That's right.
Now, I was wondering, sir, if you were going to eat one of those, how do you start? It's like a stuffed crust pizza. Do you eat the crust first, or do you eat the inside of the pizza first?
Well, I was first off by saying this is one of the most disgusting questions that have ever been posed to me. But if you had to tell somebody what kind of dick to dine upon, I would recommend an uncircumcised.
No.
Oh, yes. Extra calories.
I shouldn't have asked that question. I apologize.
You shouldn't have. You brought this upon yourself, Gabe.
Objection, Gabe, leading the witness.
Okay. I don't know what I was thinking.
So we just went from, just to clarify to the chat, just to clarify to the chat, the rails will quickly recede. They will disappear.
Back on the road. Back on the road.
Like Denzel is with the rails with the 2 bricks, and he goes, "These bricks are here to set you free, rails." And he goes, bang, and those rails take off.
Yep.
That's how it is with double impact. Get on this.
Somebody NASCAR pit crews took those fucking rails at it.
Woo! Okay, sorry about that. That was my fault. I should not have asked. What I forgot what your official title was. It was Lord. It was Lord what? Was it Lord Winchester? I'm really sorry.
Lord Benson Winifred Worthington the Whole.
Oh God, Lord Winchester was in here yesterday. How embarrassing. I'm sorry.
Did you say
different lord?
We got a lot of lords coming through here. I'm very sorry, Lord.
So
Benson.
many. So many lords.
It sounded like you said the horse, and it just killed me.
Not the horse, the fourth.
I just...
Wait. Now, are you actually a horse? You're a horse that is a British lord. That is fascinating.
Lord Benson Winifred Worthington the horse.
Oh, I've only met 7 other horses that were lords. It's very rare.
Well, actually, from the motherland, it was a horse cock. But then I came to the States and I removed the cock.
Yeah, it's probably good you changed your name when you got here.
It's just whole.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Don't you die on me, Sean. Don't you die on me.
Well, I didn't think I'd run into another horse lord anytime soon.
Well, you never know, huh?
Do you know Byron Chesterfield? He's a Palomino.
Do you mean the horse?
Yes, he's a Palomino horse lord.
I don't speak of that horse. He's an asshole.
Oh, I didn't mean to bring up a sore subject like that. Is it your lordship or your honor? I don't know how.
It's your lordness.
Oh,
Call
your
me
lordness. Oh, I forgot.
Your lordness.
Well, listen, we loved having you. I have a bag of oats for you back in the kitchen if you want to go check that out, and some carrots too. So you told me
as long as they're Quaker.
They are. They are. Yeah.
So what movie are you guys talking about? Man on Fire. No, it's just I love.
They told me that Mr. Ed and you had a little beef, right? Is that a thing or is that a rumor?
Oh no, it happened. He pulled out his horse cock and I pulled out mine.
Oh,
we had to find out whose was bigger.
Oh, well. Here lies
listen, no.
Jetty.
We've got it. No, listen. We're stopping everything right now. Jericho, let me say this. You know, he will be missed. No, the thing. There will be, as God is my witness, and I'm not, you think I'm joking. If, God forbid, but if something ever happens to me, first of all, remember to tell the police, my wife, maybe. But outside of that,
you want me to throw away?
But outside of that, please, for the love of God, on Double Impact, do it totally freaking straight-faced. Have a cheesy photo of me with my birth and death date, and say in memoriam. That'd be a short in memoriam to all the Double Impact members we lost. I'm not joking. That is what I want. You can play this clip. Look, guys, it's awkward, but this is what Sean wanted. But here's the other aspect of this. Listen to me, Jericho. I've done a lot of stuff with limited animation. You are leaving money on the table. If you want to hire me, you need to have clips on your show of some of these characters. Ren and Stimpy animated, man. It's like you could just do some like limited mouth movement stuff, man. It would be killer, dude. Hey, oh my God. Gotta be done.
Thank you.
I don't even know. Brian, did you just freestyle this? I don't even know what this is. Read that. That's...
Oh my God.
Look at my horse. My horse is amazing. Give it a lick. It tastes just like raisins. With the stroke of his mane, he turns into a plane, and he turns back again when you tug on his winky. That didn't rhyme at the end.
It's a haiku.
Oh, it's a haiku.
Gabe, it's a song Malin plays. Oh, God.
Oh, is it?
Oh, John.
Oh,
God bless you, Coach. Oh.
Well.
Ooh. So, Man on Fire is.
Anyway.
Yeah. The kid in the pool.
This really deep connection of Denzel showing the love of encouragement and dedication to this girl, and We ruined it with Lord Benson, his hoarseness. But it's okay. We can recover.
We're back now.
That's right.
We are
We got
back
this.
now.
That's
Okay,
right.
so a lot has happened. So he trains her, and then so it's kind of it's training and training and training, and then boom, they're at the meet. The crowd is cheering. There's hundreds of people there around the pool. There's parents, kids. It's a big deal. She's up on the blocks, and the madre that he talked to before, who he finished quoting the Bible verse for her. She said hello to him, and he says, yeah, her parents are out of town, and she said, today you are her father. And then almost like he was like, oh,
dang,
shit, wow, never heard those words, said to me before, or any variation of them. So he's like, oh shit, but he's back in the moment. She's getting ready to go, and she gets up on there in slow motion, and she's getting ready, and she gets in her stance, and then boom, the starter pistol goes off. She's in the water, she's swimming. It doesn't really show you is she ahead the whole time or what. And then she hits the wall, and then you hear the guy say, in Spanish, the winner is Lupita Ramos. And she jumps up and screams as she runs. She runs at him and jumps in his arms, and he just picks her up, and she hugs him, and she's so happy. And he's like, oh shit, he's smiling. I haven't seen him do that yet. He's been pretty damn serious the whole time. So, she forces this moment on him. She's running toward him. What's he going to do? Like sidestep her and stick his foot out? He's got to hug her. So she jumps in his arms, and it's like, shit, now that's a pivotal moment. It changes. Now, I love this kid. She's changed him. And so the next scene, they're going out to eat to celebrate. So he goes to, the only person he knows, Christopher Walken. And it's Christopher Walken, his wife, and then those two. And they're telling him about how it used to be and how they were, these plans, to rule the world. And then he gets a call one day, and it's, oh, my heart, I met this woman. He's like, oh, man, what happened to the plan? He said that he met the woman and was like, I totally understand. I get it. What a great woman. And he says, may I kiss her? And he goes, yeah, go ahead. And he goes to kiss her, and not like, make out with her, but kiss her on the cheek. And he goes to kiss her, and he goes, hey, what are you doing? And it kind of like, scares them, and they all start laughing. And then she says, this is as good a time as any, and she gives him a gift. She's like, I bought it with my own money. And she gives him a little bear, and she's like, oh, thank you. So his name's Creasy Bear. So he's like, you guys cutting onions back there. He's, fighting back. It's an emotional moment. He's never been shown this kindness, and not from his friend. This is a great friend, but you don't have a lot of tender moments between two men when they're friends. Definitely not, hey man, I bought this with my own money. Here's a stuffed animal. That shit ain't gonna happen. So he's never been shown this tenderness before. And who knows what his childhood was like or anything, but whether he's never been shown it or it's been a long time, he hasn't, it's been a while since he experienced a moment like this. And, she's thanking him for the time he put in. This is, probably took weeks to get her ready and stuff. And she's very appreciative. And when's the last time she was sitting around a table with her parents laughing like that, over a meal? So it's a big moment for both of them.
I desperately wanted, and I can't do a great walk-in, but I wanted him to almost look at the camera go and say, wow, I hope nothing happens to this little girl, or he's going to go apeshit. Like, I mean, the movie's called Man on Fire, and you're like, shit. With every one of these scenes, it's like the movie was called Something Bad is Going to Happen. And you're seeing him finally... Like, C.S. Lewis talks about this, and I think that it's something that he covered in a book that every kid should have read to them. I just think it's a great book, which is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And he talks about the idea of C.S. I've heard it talked about how C.S. Lewis, during the time before that, was sort of in the winter time of his life. Like his soul was in winter, and you go into Narnia, and it's in winter, but never Christmas. There's never any of the joy of life. Winter is an everlasting season. And this is that moment for me when you're watching this where Denzel Washington, it's like his spirit is thawing after having been on ice, or it's slowly coming to life. And it's like this moment of spring in this movie. Unfortunately, summer is a barn burner, but this is that little bit of spring that he's got. And it's almost like... it's like if you've ever been out with somebody and you're trying to get a cigarette lit and there's not enough butane in the lighter and you just like click and click 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 and it's like barely goes out and you've got all these people working together around to try to keep that little bit of fire going. That's Walken, and finally we have light with this girl. We have light in his life, and it's
sustainable. It's
sustainable.
This is a big moment. This is where life is good, life is better. I don't want to put a bullet in my head. I just may stop drinking every night, and I enjoy my job because I get to hang out with this cool, little person and have these great experiences, and I'm enjoying whatever it is. He's enjoying something, and that's a foreign feeling to him.
Yeah,
I mean, just think of where he was. He was an alcoholic who he pulled that trigger. The gun just didn't work. And he thinks God won't forgive him. That is heartbreaking for someone to be that demoralized. And this little girl, by loving her, the love comes back to him. It's like, oh, he has a reason to live, and he can appreciate and be grateful to God again and realize, okay, yes, life is beautiful. I should be grateful and all this stuff. And he's coming, like you said, Shant, he's thawing out. He's coming out of that frozen hell that he's been in. And I wonder
a Saint Christopher.
I wonder if things are going to stay good or not in the story.
One wonders.
And people, in life who, let's say, and hopefully, more people don't do it, but maybe people who want to but don't go through with it. How many of them have something or some situation that changes their view on life? Like, oh shit, it's different now. I don't want to kill myself. How many people have that experience? And he did. And he said he literally put the gun to the side of his head and pulled the trigger. This is it. And now he's experiencing this joy. So, now it's time for somebody to take it away.
Well, and we got to look at this too. Walken knows him and is probably in his life. He has always seen him at his lowest. This is the guy he calls when the suicide doesn't work out. 2 a.m. He's so drunk. And now he's watching a little girl give him in a bear a necklace of St. Jude, the patron saint of the lost cause. I mean, my God, is this some incredible work here? Incredible.
Yeah. Great. And the music. There's this lady singing throughout the movie. I don't know who it is, but they play it at various points to almost reinforce the ominous nature of the movie.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Almost bringing a sadness to the scene. It's a trip. This movie is really good on a lot of different levels.
I really, I was talking to my brother. He has obviously a very similar background to me because he's my brother. We grew up in the same house and everything. But my parents divorced like a week after my 8th birthday. And then we left the state. We left Colorado and came here to California and stuff. And my brother and I were talking about our adult relationships and some people we've run into and this and that and the other. And we're like, well, why are we attracted to X kind of people? And it's like, we both realized talking about this. We have pretty deep talks all the time. My brother, Abe, who turned me on to you, by the way, Jericho, a few years ago. He said, yeah, this dude, he's hilarious. He's in his truck and just talking about like, good morning, Americans. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
This is a fucking idiot. I don't want to listen to him.
Fucking moron. Like, what are you talking about? But what we boiled it down to, my brother and I, is we both have a heart for losers. We have a heart for hopeless people. And I think it's why I love coaching sports. And whenever I get on YouTube, I'm always trying to encourage people. And it's not Pollyanna bullshit. I really believe this stuff that I'm telling you guys. I live my life this way. So I love to see someone in the depths like Denzel here be lifted out of it and given hope, because I know all of you out there, everyone has their private and sometimes public tragedies and heartbreak, dude. Life can hit us all in the teeth, like kick us in the teeth, and it's heartbreaking, some of the shit that happened. And we're just not encouraged to like help each other enough, and to love each other. And I think messages like this are fantastic, where you could see it happening. You could see the love, the humanity, just like lifting someone out of that evil, that black. We've all been there, man. That blackness. You look into it, and there's just nothing there. It's awful.
Can you make me big for a second, Gabe?
Only you can do that by eating, friend. But I believe in you. So
I already did it. I'm already there. All right, folks. Done. How we doing? Here's a quick moment of seriousness here for a second, because I like hearing Gabe talk and all. It's wonderful. It's fine. if you're into that kind of thing. But let me talk on his behalf for a second. As somebody now who has gotten to know Gabe since the start of this show, the one thing I think that people will never truly understand about him is how generous, kind, what a good person he is, and how he always tries to do the right thing. And there are very few people that I have met in my life who have that level of integrity, that level of kindness, and who will always try to do the right thing and the best for people, regardless of how that falls on people. Whether it falls on deaf ears or thoughtless hearts, he is always somebody who is going to try to operate in the right and who tries to do the best he can by everybody. There's things that you guys don't know that he has done for me as a friend to reach out, and there's things that he has been able to receive from me when we're talking and things like that. And it's something I think is really important to say because I've taken the time to get to know this man, and I can tell you this. He is an incredibly generous and honorable person, and that needs to be said. All right, take it off me. I'm done.
I'm done.
Thank you.
Very kind words.
That's humbling. Thank you. So, he was talking about me, Mr. Jolly Green. So I'm a little. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say besides thank you, and it's humbling. And so.
And if I can add real quickly too,
gay.
Sorry, go ahead.
So gay.
Oh, so.
But look at you can see the joy, on his face, and this is probably like a real moment when they were filming. That's a very genuine look of enjoyment, laughter, happiness. Which he's very foreign to at this point in his life. So. It's awesome, man. Hey, I'd love to be there too. A little Mexican restaurant in Mexico, mariachi, and the food's good.
Right.
Hell
in Mexico, they wouldn't call it a Mexican restaurant. It would just be a restaurant.
A restaurant.
I just
go to a
my own
restaurant.
mind.
I want to go to a Mexican restaurant.
Oh, that's the thing. I gotta say we gotta have the NorCal versus the SoCal because you're the NorCal, Jericho, and I'm the SoCal. We have way better Mexican food than you guys. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. I don't care what you say.
I don't know, man. It's good up here. If there's something better than this, I don't need it because it's damn good. There's a place.
As a man whose family owned a Mexican restaurant for 50 years, I do consider myself an aficionado on Mexican food. Yep. Some of the best food I've ever had. I just had it in Cabo San Lucas in November with my wife. We went on a cruise ship, and we were trying to find a place to eat. And there was the horrendous stench of fish, and there was this. It was at the beach, and there were. It was a little like a building where they were gutting fish and cleaning out the blood and the guts with the hose, and it reeked. And there was a tiny courtyard, like 10 feet by 10 feet square, next to the building, with these women with a propane tank and a comal, like a fire grill, and they were just making quesadillas, and it was some of the best food I've ever had in my life. I keep thinking about these things. Oh my God. So, sorry.
Take a left at the stinky fish.
It was right next to the worst smelling thing ever. I'm stepping over a puddle of blood water, and then
it was worth it.
I look and I'm like, what are these ladies up to? Because they were like, mid-40s, chubby women cooking something. And they were, like, okay, whatever's happening here is magical, right? and it was. Oh, my God. Street food, right? What a delight. It was.
Would that be a pescado pestoso? The stinky fish. Take a left at the stinky fish, dude.
There you go.
Best quesadillas in the world.
Marby Dog. I live in Colorado. Good Mexican food. Yeah, my family's Mexican restaurant was in Greeley, Colorado for 50 years. Yeah. But
I don't know the
championship over Jericho as I
no way.
Yeah. Oh, indeed.
No way.
Please.
No way. There's some restaurants up here that are ridiculous.
No.
Yeah.
I live 22 miles from Tijuana. I live near the source, man.
But I live near people who are from there, so they kind of they brought it with them. Trust me,
my wife grew up on the res. Oh, we'll have to settle it when we meet up.
We will. I'll be glad to settle that.
We will settle it.
That sounds delicious. Let's do it.
Mine's way better.
This to me sounds like a not duel. This is not a duel. Everybody wins.
Yeah,
wins. Take 10 paces, then turn and eat.
I'll throw 2 steaks at you. You throw 2 steaks at me. It's a win-win.
I see your menudo, sir, and I raise you an empanada.
How dare you, sir? I'll
Take
give you
that,
one
you
pupusa.
oaf.
Ugh.
Try this sope. Man, it
Do
gets
they
crazy
have,
up here.
in Northern California, do they have California burritos?
Yeah, but
Oh,
not
wow.
at Mexican restaurants.
Oh,
Okay.
Anything
Got
that
real.
you know how it is in California. Anything you put an avocado in is now a California whatever.
Right.
It's
Well,
stupid.
a Cali burrito is like the official burrito of San Diego. It's marinated carne asada, pico de gallo, guacamole, cheese, and French fries. That's a
No.
game changer right there.
No, but that's not Mexican food, is it?
It's San Diego Mexican food. It's delicious.
No, we don't have those abominations up here.
Right. You
Our
guys have all
our tacos consist of carne asada, some cilantro, onion, chopped onion, a little lime. Oh man! And for some reason, when you stand up and eat tacos, it just tastes more delicious.
right.
But you know what's it is the red one, the red pastor
El
tacos.
Pastor.
Yeah, El
Oh,
pastor. Those are delicious. The carnitas. Man, it gets crazy.
you guys
The
know what El
copper
Pastor
pots.
is? Al Pastor tacos. It's that big gyro of meat, right? Like gyros. It's the spinning meat on the fire. I didn't know it's El Pastor is a pastor style, meaning a shepherd, meaning the Arabs, the Syrians, all them that moved to Mexico like 150 years ago. That's actually Arab food, like Arabized Mexican food.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. That's fascinating to me.
What are you
But
guys
they
trying
put
to
a
do to me
pineapple
here?
on top. Oh, say it again. I didn't hear you.
No, what are you guys trying to do to me here?
Right.
Like we're talking
Mexican
about.
food here
You
is
know what's
ridiculous,
great?
man.
I'm dude.
Ridiculous. Oh man.
So something I that was mentioned in this movie that I got to say is just was interesting is my family, I had a lot of family in El Paso, Texas, so every time I hear El Paso brought up, I think of it because I've actually visited El Paso a ton of times, so that was my experience. It was on a trip to El Paso because we didn't have a lot of big comic shops where I was that I was introduced to the indie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was, like by some of the El Paso comic shops. There's some great comic shops there, but that was my bar for Mexican food and Tex-Mex. And, when you get your food there, man, it's like everything else is going to be rough. You're getting the real stuff,
Man, it's
homemade
good,
tamales
man.
and whew.
Chili verde. Tamales. If you know any Mexican girls that are like elementary school age and up, they're on lockdown around Christmas time because it's time
Here's
to
the
make tamales.
thing. Here's how superior my family's Mexican restaurant was to other Mexicans. Yeah, I said it. I didn't know that tamales were Christmas food growing up because my family made them year round and they were delicious. All the other Mexicans I know, they make them at Christmas. I didn't know that was a thing.
And it's serious.
Yeah.
All the women.
My friend, he's an artist, Carlos de Anda at Wildstorm. He's an illustrator for DC and all that. He was talking to me about Christmas tamales. This was like 2008. I just found this out as an adult. That's how spoiled I was growing up with Mexican food. So
But my neighbors own some Mexican restaurants. It was the best when I go over there because their mom would make me a refried bean and a cotija cheese burrito on a fresh tortilla and send me home. Oh, dog, it was.
Oh, you want to talk about good? That cotija cheese. I have some in the fridge right now. Me das un libra de cotija cheese. That's what I tell them at the Mexican.
Probably the most simple meal: a tortilla, beans, and cheese. That's it, ridiculous. And it is life altering.
Ridiculous. Real quick, plush 5 for $2. Thanks to Sean for introducing me to the Shadowcast.
Yeah, that's Razor Fist's Shadow specific, the comic pulp character, I should say, the Shadow podcast that he does, in addition to his other massive YouTube channel. And Razor Fist and I actually started messaging back and forth on Twitter. I've gotten to know him, and I'm a fan of the stuff he's doing with pulp. So shout out to Razor Fist. But yeah, man, that is some great stuff, and I'm so glad I could introduce you to that plush, man. He's Razor Fist's a good dude, man. Absolutely great dude.
Yeah, love Razor Fist. Hilarious and very insightful. Very, very bright guy. Very, very
hates communism with the passion of 1,000 burning suns. God bless him.
All right.
When we I'm gonna knock your socks off with this food, Jericho, and then we'll get back to the movie real quick. There's a chain of restaurants. I think there's only like 10 of them in the whole country, though. There's like 2 in San Diego, 1 in Las Vegas, 1 in Miami. There's just a handful of these called the Taco Stand. And I've seen a line out their door for like 3 years, but I never went there. I was like, whatever. And I went there in Vegas with my wife. Literally the best burrito I've ever had. It was El Pastor burrito. And so I go to the one here by my house now. I go there every once in a while. But when we finally get to Vegas, we will go there because there's one in Vegas, and you're not gonna believe this burrito. It's ridiculous. This thing, it's so good. When you finally get to the bottom, it has all that orange grease at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
What God's doing to me?
It's just like a soup of pork grease, pineapple juice, cilantro, onion, salsa. Oh,
so you guys want to start talking about your favorite cigarettes next, or do you want me to just get Denzel's bullet? Like, what the hell are you people trying to do to me?
Dude, the one last thing, probably one of the greatest Mexican foods ever is the bibira tacos.
Birria tacos, birria, yeah.
That are made and then they fry them and then dip them in that juice, that orange juice.
It's a consomme. It's a consomme of it's just a broth that tastes like a little bit like enchilada sauce, and you dunk a taco in it.
A whole taco
has the beef, has a little bit of cheese and onion sometimes. I saw you just swallow just now, like your mouth was watering, Jericho.
Oh, did you see me wipe the tears away right now? Did you see that too?
All right,
I'm crying blood over here.
Anyway, tonight's show is brought to you by Taco Stand. No.
That's right. No, you know the radio station.
So he's reached the zenith now. He's come out of the frozen hell. This little girl, she loves him. He loves her. His friend, the dinner. She gives him a little necklace of Saint who of Lost Causes. What was it?
St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes.
Right.
The impossible cause. It's you guys know it's one of the most famous pediatric cancer treatment hospitals is St. Jude. It's like where
great
you go when your kid needs a miracle, and it's one of those places you'll never feel bad about donating money to, man.
Right.
And it's a beautiful thing. I had a St. Christopher like that I used to wear around my neck when I was a kid, so it struck me. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, just gave him some gifts, and he's overwhelmed. Overwhelmed.
Right.
Yeah.
So we hit this high point. Everything is beautiful, and he takes her to school like he always does, and then he's picking her up, and he notices that car that was tailing them. Right, that car's there again.
Yeah.
And things start to get funny, and police block the street. Like a police car stops like a block away.
Well,
another one stops, and he notices they're going to pin something in here, and she's coming out of the building. Go ahead.
Well, before that, her parents come back and they bring her a puppy, Sam.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about it.
And so it's almost like here, kid, here's a gift, so we feel better or whatever. And so for leaving you,
goes all in on these parents.
Well,
sorry, I wasn't at your.
What the fuck are you guys doing? Do you both have to go? I understand, Dad. You gotta go. Mom, one of you guys flip a coin and fucking stay here and go to this kid's, swim meet or help her out or something. So they come home, they bring a puppy to appease her and make themselves feel better for being pieces of shit. And she has to go play piano. She tells her dad, I don't want to play piano. I want to swim. He says, no, I got you these lessons with so-and-so. He's this world-renowned piano teacher. He's the best of the best. You have to go. So she's in the car and she's telling Creasy, he's taking her to her lesson. And she says, I don't want to. I want to swim. She's I'll break all my fingers so I can't play piano, but I can still swim. And he says, no, he's like, don't do that. Don't pout. Don't be like that. He's like, this is your situation. He's like, can you belch? Can you burp? If you want to. She goes, swallow some air. The shit we all did when we were kids. And some kids are really good at it. And she burps. He says, okay, this guy's real fancy, teaches a bunch of rich kids. You burp, apologize, when you do it, but just keep burping. You'll offend all his sensibilities. 24 hours, you'll be back in the water. Trust me. She's like, okay. So he goes, they go, he finds a parking spot, and he goes, right, Sam? And the camera pans over to Sam. He's sitting in the back seat just like panting and shit. And so then they get there. He asks him how long in Spanish. He says, how long is it going to be? He says 1 hour. So he takes Sam and lets him run around the park. Oh, while they're waiting, she sees a little flower growing out of the cement, out of the sidewalk, and she picks it, one of those little dandelions or whatever, and gives it to him. He says, oh, thank you. And he puts it in his shirt. And he drops the kid off, and so he's letting Sam run around and shit. And he starts getting into it with another dog. He's a puppy, so he's just getting a little rambunctious and shit. He sees another dog, so he goes over there, puts him on a leash. And then that's when he's standing there and he's looking around, and he recognizes that car. He sees the license plate, and he recognizes that car. And then a cop car drives by him, and then it stops, and then it backs up, and it's blocking traffic. And so he's starting to put two and two together. He's seeing this cop car pull up for no reason. He sees the other car, and PETA comes out. So now he knows, oh shit, this is it. They're trying to take PETA. And so he pulls his gun in the air. He says, "Peter, Peter," and he pulls his gun and he puts it in the air. And it's they close up on the gun. Like the gun gets its own scene. I rewound it, and it gets its own frame. And he puts his gun in the air, and it's a Glock 34. It's a 9mm, but it's long, so it has a longer barrel. It's more than 5 inches because I think a 17 is 5 inches, but it's like 5.5 inches. So it's great for accuracy, especially close up. That extra inch or half inch makes all the difference.
That's
so,
what she said. No.
No, yeah. That makes all the difference.
We call it the bonus inch.
Tonight on 102.3 The Meat, we give you that extra inch. Ooh. So he pulls his gun out, he puts it in the air, and he shoots it to get her attention because she's just like, looking around. She's like scared. And this shows how her great acting even more. She's not even talking in this scene. She's just looking terrified out of her mind. When he shoots the gun, it scares her. She jumps. She starts crying. I mean, this kid is awesome. So he shoots the gun in the air to get her attention.
The gun is just like the swim meet, right? That's what it's called.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
And it's, to set her free, and he tells her, run. And so these guys go to get her. So he starts laying them down. Boom, boom, boom. He shoots the cops. He don't give a fuck. Everybody here is here to take this girl. So here we go. And he gets hit in his left shoulder through and through. You can see it come out the back. So he's still bang, 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 laying these fools down. He gets behind the car, and then he starts picking them off pretty good when he's behind the car. But then, some of them get around him. He takes another one on the right side of his chest, and then he ends up taking one in the stomach. And then that last one, and she's so scared she's not running. She's just standing there crying. And so that third one gets him, and he like falls, and he can't help her. And she runs up to him, Creasy, and then the guys come up and grab her and fucking throw her in the car, and they take off.
We got to talk about this real quick because it's the worst. How do I word this? It is the absolute worst thing that she could have done to him, which is all he has left at this point, because this is how he wants to go out. You know what I mean? Like, if he could go out saving her, interesting, we'll get to that later, that would be great.
Right.
But she is not able to be free of him because she loves him so much. So he's got that horror of, by reaching out to her and connecting with her, she connected with him. And it is, it's heartbreaking. The other thing that it took me, I think it was like the third or fourth time I watched this, that I got this because I'm a little slow. We got to be clear about this thing too. The dad, who is never there, claims to want what's best for her and decides that she needs piano lessons. So he sets up this trip to go see the piano teacher for this scheduled appointment. And that's going to come back to us later, but it took me 4 or 5 viewings to get the craven depth of this evil fucking father. But we'll get to that. But it's like, oh my God, to see him laying there after everything, how far he has come. You're like, bullets aren't going to stop this man till he's done saving this girl. You understand what you're dealing with? It's like,
no, he died and the movie ended. I thought it was a weird choice. No,
it was a strange choice. It was a strange choice.
We're done. Roll credits.
The bad guys won.
Finally.
She leans in here, and I don't know if you guys can see it from the shot, but she whispers to him right before the credits roll. She says, "You failed." And it's a downer. It's a real downer.
You're a fishtail. You're a failure.
Too bad that gun didn't work when you tried to shoot yourself.
She goes, "I'll see you in hell."
Asshole! That's what she's yelling at him. So he succumbs to his injuries, so to speak, and they snatch her up and put her in the car, and they take off. And he wakes up, or he's fading in and out of consciousness, but the chief of police is standing next to his bed, and he's saying in Spanish that this is John W. Creasy. He is an American. He's responsible for the murder of 2 police officers, the 2 that were on the scene, and a few other guys. He laid down a few of them. He's a murderer. And so this reporter, she asked, "Oh, Chief, the 2 officers that were there, they were off duty, so why were they in uniform?" And he's like, "Don't talk about dead officers like that." She's like, "Oh, excuse me, like, how dare I ask why those 2 officers were there in uniform?" And this guy comes up behind her, and I've seen this guy in shit before. I don't know. I didn't. I thought he was French for some reason, but he's obviously Spanish or Mexican or something because he speaks Spanish or fluent Spanish. But he comes up behind her and he asks. He makes a smart remark about those officers and how corrupt they are in the room. Everybody in the room laughs, and then he squeezes her butt. He pinches her butt, so you know that okay, something's going on with these two. And then Rayburn, Walken's character, he comes in to visit him, and he says the first thing he asks is, "Where's PETA?" And he says they took her. It's been 2 days, but they're negotiating the money drop right now, the ransom, so they can he can get her, the family can get her back. So he's like, "All right, cool." So after that, they go to the voice. The bad guy's called the voice, La Voz, and he's telling them, okay, here's what we're going to do. He says, I'm a professional. Okay. If you value your daughter's life as much as I do, you'll do exactly what I say and she'll be back to you. No problem. Okay. But if you don't follow the rules, you'll never see her again. Okay. Okay. And this is the dad on the phone, Mark Anthony, Mr. Ramos. So he's saying, okay. Okay. So he tells him, I want $10 million, $5 million in, get 2 15-gallon bags, $5 million in each bag. Tells him the same thing. Drive around 2 times, wave the white shirt in the air, so I know who it is, who you are, and we'll take it from there. I'll tell you where to drop the money. Blah blah blah. We'll be in and out. You'll get your daughter back, no problem. He says, okay, I'll do exactly what you say. And then this guy named Fuentes, he shows up, this Mexican cop. And he says, the lawyer, Mickey Rourke, his character's name is Jordan Kalfas. He says, we'll handle this ourselves. We don't need the police involvement. And he says, well, when he killed those 2 cops, that made us involved. He says, you want to call the attorney general? He hands him his phone. He says, go ahead and call him. He's like, no, fuck it, whatever, you're involved. And so they're going to oversee the drop. So they get the money. He calls him back, says, you got the 10 million? He's like, yeah, I got the 10 million, man. 2 bags, just like you said. Bum, bum, bum. Here we go. And he drops off the money. But then it turns out that cop put some people, has some dudes that they're going to rob the drop. They're going to rob the money exchange. He don't give a shit about the kid because he's going to get $10 million. He gives, his cut to whoever else, La Hermandad, the Brotherhood, this group that they belong to. So they get the drop and they start shooting. They shoot up the Voices dudes, the kidnapper. They shoot up his boys. And one of them that gets killed is his cousin. So now he's pissed. Now deal's off. And so he calls him back and he said, you didn't do what I said. My cousin got killed. So now you'll never see your daughter again. She's dead, and the mom gets on the phone and she says, this is her mother. I'm so sorry you're dealing with me. Don't worry about them. You'll get your money. I wish we talked. I wish we talked sooner, but I'm a professional, and you didn't follow the rules. So now you got to pay. She flips out, starts slapping the shit out of everybody in the room. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. She's walking down the line.
That was beautiful. That was some airplane shit. That was some airplane shit, man. Bam.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah, dude. Slapping people upside the head. All the ones at the phone, listening to the phone call. Slapping the shit out of them because her kid's dead. Because they fucked up. Her kid is dead. Her 9-year-old daughter just got murdered. So, shit's fucked up. And so what's the one after this, Gabe? Because that's the drop. That's where they're having a shootout. Yep. And so, Rayburn goes to the hospital. He tells him he's looking all sad and shit. And Creasy goes, what's wrong? He says, she's dead, Crease. And he looks away from Christopher Walken. He looks away. He rolls his head. He's laying in the hospital bed and he looks away to the other side. He's looking at toward the camera, not into the camera, but he's looking toward it. And he almost has a look of not so much sadness, but just disgust.
Right.
Just like, just how do you guys do that? Who kills a kid? How did they mess this up? And he starts crying, he doesn't start sobbing, but his eyes well up and, tear rolls out and, what a lucky pillow that was to get that Denzel tear.
Yeah. But, this moment for me, it made me start to be honest, to not like this movie. Cause I'm like, who the fuck kills a kid in a story?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of dipshit thinks that's good writing? You do not kill kids in stories. It's like, because to me, like, how do you come back from that in the story? Like, but we'll see, right? But, and it's a 20-year-old movie, guys, so spoilers, whatever. But yeah, at this point, I was like, oh, fuck, what is this movie now? Really? They're gonna kill a kid.
Yeah.
Well,
But that's the cool part about you seeing this for the first time. You know what I mean? You're just like, what the fuck?
one of the best lines interestingly enough, in one of the comics, both written and illustrated by the late, great Jason Pearson, who was at Gaijin Studios when I was interning there. He was a terrific guy. I didn't really get to know him, but he passed away this December. I think he was 52 years old. He was,
too young.
Too young. But he wrote a comic book called Body Bags. And in the comic, there's this hardcore assassin. He meets his daughter for the first time after a while. He's a hardcore character, not a very loving character. But at one point later on in the story, when he gets to know this kid, he thinks that these bad guys who come to take him out have killed her. And he said that was a huge mistake to the guys who he's fighting. He goes, that kid that you just took out was the last bit of humanity that I had left, and now I'm going to destroy you. And I couldn't help but think of that when I saw that sequence where he turned his head. It's like, oops, there's no safety on this Glock now. It's over. Good luck,
because he has no family, no wife, no kids, no nothing. And Christopher Walken, Rayburn, that's his only real friend. That's his only connection to the human race. So. He's like, Rayburn can do without me, but this poor girl, man, and so that fucks him up pretty bad.
Yeah,
and he goes back to her house goes back to the house to get his shit, because obviously, there's no one left to protect, and he just wanders in her room and he looks for her diary because she told him, I got that license plate number except for the last digit I didn't get. So he's going to her room to find her diary to get that number, and he's, looking at a picture of her and stuff. And the mom comes in and she says, "What are you doing here?" And he says, "I'm sorry, I just came to get my stuff." And she just starts talking, like almost like she needed somebody to talk to, and further let you know what a piece of shit. Why is your wife talking to basically a stranger? She doesn't know very well about the death of your child. Like, why isn't she talking to her husband about that? But who knows? He's probably not even there. And she just starts talking about how, we're planning what club to go to. And now this, and it all meant nothing. And I thought that she wanted things. And she's like, I thought I wasn't enough to give her. I thought, but all she wanted was me, but I didn't think I was enough. And I wish I could do it over. And I wish I didn't concentrate on that stupid shit. And I was here more at her swim meet. Right? Instead of bringing her a damn dog, you should have been there. But, she feels horrible, but now there's nothing she could do. Her kid's gone. It's like, fuck, what a mistake you made. And she asks him, she says, "What are you going to do?" And he goes, "I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to kill him. Anybody who had anything to do with it, anybody who profited from it, anybody who opened their eyes at me. Don't even open your eyes at him." He says, I'm going to kill him. And she's all, "You kill him. You kill them all." And then so it starts to these real heavy guitar riffs, and then here's something that's now added to the movie: the scream of her being taken away. Crazy, that scream. They play that throughout the movie, like scenes like this, where it's going to go all bad for this poor guy. He's the driver of the kidnapper's car. So before this, those heavy guitar riffs go into him talking to Christopher Walken. He says, "Well, I'll take you up to the border. You can get to the Navy hospital, and be on your way." Basically, he's like, "I'm not going anywhere." He's like, "Let's go stop by let's go, get some." He hands him a piece of paper. He's like, "You're talking about war, Kreese?" He's like, "Yeah, let's go." And so he gets all his guns and stuff. And
right. So we have the classic action movie.
Yeah.
Getting the rocket launcher, getting the guns,
RPG, phones,
grenades, all kinds of cell phones. Right.
Is there an arsenal around here somewhere?
You need to go to the Arsenal store. You need the Arsenal.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, you gotta talk to my guy, Sean, my RPG guy.
Yeah,
my Arsenal guy.
It says number 5 here is a tank, but it's not specific. Will any tank do?
Yeah.
What's the model and make you're looking for?
But what I liked about that scene is it wasn't all the latest cool shit with suppressors and lights and all the things. It's a grenade, but it looks like a fountain pen. Like it wasn't that kind of shit. It was kind of gritty. It was mixed. It was a hodgepodge. You got a grease gun from World War II in there. You got a 1911, a Browning, all this different shit. But it's perfect because This is how he is. He's effective, but he's primitive. I don't need all this fancy smancy shit. Give me a collection of guns, and I'm going to wage war on these fucking assholes for ripping my heart out. So he gets his shit, and he calls that reporter, or he tells him, let's go by the crime scene. So already he's still healing, but he's like, hey, let's go. Let's get to the crime scene. Let's start this shit. So Christopher Walken takes him to the crime scene, and he's looking around and shit, and he's reliving it. He's hearing the screams, Creasy, you know, when they took her away, when they kidnapped her. And so on the way there, he says, we got a tail, and they look, and they see this car following them. And so the car ends up being the reporter, who was accusing the cops of being there not in uniform, her.
The beautiful Rachel Ticotin, who was the love interest in Total Recall, right?
Damn.
Yeah, she's a bit of all right.
Get your ass to Maz. Yeah, man, that was
get your ass on Maz.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like, get your ass over here is what I think you tell her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he calls her. He says, "Hey, I got a license plate number. It's a partial. I need 10 or whatever. I need 10 possibilities of where this is." So he tracks him down, and he's on a little moped or like a scooter or whatever, and he's parked kind of far away, and he sees this guy come out of a place, and he pulls a tarp off of the car, and it's the car that kidnapped PETA. So he's on him. So when the guy gets in the car, he pulls up or gets inside the car, and he puts a gun to him, and he says, drive in Spanish. And he goes, okay. You can tell he's not scared. He's not like, oh shit, man. He's like, okay, no problem, man. And so he goes up on top of this hill, and again, they play the scream from PETA, Crazy. It's almost like it's in his mind, and this is what's fueling him. You know, that sound of that girl. You know, I failed her. You know, I failed her, and they took her. I got shot, and I was weak. But I'm going to change that. I'm going to take all these feelings I've turned inside, and I'm going to turn them outside on this dude's scalp right now. So he goes up on top of a hill, and he parks it kind of at an angle. And he goes, check this out, man. He says, I'm going to ask you some questions, and every wrong answer. And he duct taped the guys. He stripped him down to his underwear, and he duct tapes his hands to the steering wheel like this. And he says, every question I'm going to ask you, if you get that shit wrong, I'm going to cut your finger off. And then I'm going to use this cigarette lighter in here to cauterize it so you don't bleed out. And the guy's like, fuck you. You're not going to do that. So he asks him, who's in charge? Where does she go? Who's running this shit? What happened? And he's like, I'm not telling you. So he takes his pocket knife out. He goes, wait. Boom, takes that fucking finger off. Blood sprays on the windshield. He takes the lighter, red hot, even them old school cars, that little red hot orange coil. And he goes, cauterizes that bitch, and he's screaming, highway, and all this shit. But he ain't trying to hear it. He ain't trying to hear that, motherfucker. All I hear is her screaming Creasy in my ears. I don't hear nothing else. And so...
Yeah. Did you guys have... I had the same... I don't know if you guys have the same reaction. I'm sure it's common for people. But did anybody watch that scene a few times in slow-mo with Richard Stamos' Loving You is Easy Because You're Beautiful? Because I got to be honest with you, I wanted to see this man get got. I was...
He deserved it just
by his predicament.
He deserved it just for having those long, disgusting fingernails.
What the hell?
Come on, there's no excuse for that. So and imagine, the force it takes to cut through a finger. He cut that shit off through the bone, like it was clean, and so he cauterized it.
We all have that in us, that sense of hurting a child. You know what you think when you hear about someone hurting a kid on the news. You know what we all think.
Yep.
And even in the Bible, it says, if you chastise a widow or an orphan, it's talking about children or widows, God tells people you would be better off tying a rope and a millstone around your neck and jumping into the ocean than what I will do to you if you mess with children or widows. So I think that's all just in us. Like, someone does something to a kid, we're all like, I don't want to say because it's YouTube, but you know.
Yeah, the farther in time we can go back to get your punishment, the better. And he relieves him of a couple fingers, and the guy starts telling him a little bit, like, okay, this is we get a phone call and and he says, okay, now what's next? So who's this person? Who's in charge of this? Yo no sé, ¿verdad? Yeah. He's like, I'm over the finger. This finger thing is so passe. Here, let me get your ear. And he cuts his fucking ear off, and he's screaming, this shit. You don't give a fuck. And so the guy's like,
Is he a mariachi? He's like, I.
and so he's he's hurting. He's hurting. It's hot in there. Everybody's sweating. He's missing 2 fingers, an ear, and he tells him, he's like, "Háblame, tell me about La Hermandad, this brotherhood." And he's telling him, he's like, "Do you know who I am? La Hermandad, pendejo," and all this shit. He's like, "Yeah, I know who you are, but I don't fucking care. So tell me about him." He's like, "I'm not going to tell you. I'm a professional." He's like, "I'm a professional. I don't know." He's like, "I do my job and that's it. I don't worry about everybody else." And so he's like, "Can I have a cigarette?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, man." And he gives him a cigarette and he lights it for him. And he says, "Well," he's like, "it's off to the next life for you, my friend. But I promise you, you won't be lonely." He fucking takes now. Unless I hope this isn't a mistake that they made and something that was missed in editing. I hope that he brought 2 guns with him and he just decided to use a different one, because when he gets there, he has his Glock 34, but when he shoots him in the head, it's a 1911, like a 45. So I don't know, but
I'm just gonna imagine he has a bunch of guns.
He brought more than one with him. He did have the duffel bag full.
Yeah.
And so he
Sean just texted me a windstorm where he lives took out his internet. He'll be back when he can.
Oh man, I hope that doesn't pick your house up and take you to Oz.
Yeah.
But he
hold on, Sean. Hold on.
Hold on tight, man. So he basically he says, "Well, see you, buddy," and he pops him in the head. And not to mention that would fucking like probably blow his eardrums. That'd be super loud. But he pops him in the head and then puts his car in neutral and it rolls and falls down the hill. While it's rolling down the hill, you hear him say, it cuts to a scene where he's riding in the car with Christopher Walken and he says, "Revenge is a dish best served cold." And the dude's car falls off a cliff and it lands upside down and explodes. And then,
I love that it explodes. I love how all movie cars explode.
Yeah, if you dump a car on its roof, it's gonna explode.
Yeah,
Everybody
well, to be fair, they were keeping a ton of dynamite in the trunk. So,
well, dynamite in the trunk, and they kept the fuel in the roof. It's in between the patty and
it's one of those new cars that has the gas tank in the roof.
On the roof, and everybody knows you flip that thing, and it's Hiroshima time.
Curtains.
Yeah, so and after the car explodes, the cops in the next scene, they're there processing the scene, and he sees the license plate, and then he remembers that the reporter hit him up for a possible address on a license plate with the same number. So now he's starting to put 2 and 2 together. Creasy's on the loose. People who have shit to do, La Hermandad members are starting to come up missing. So it's party time. But actually, okay, keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going. You're good.
It's all right. So so then there was that one cop. He was like the Fuentes, I think. He said, "We don't need you guys. We can do this ourselves. Whatever." He wants to be in charge of the investigation.
Yeah, the one who organized the hit on the money exchange. Those are his boys who
right. So we
killed
find
the
out
guy's nephew.
Right. So Denzel has got some information that leads him to this guy. So he uses an RPG from these old people's apartments, and this guy travels like mafia. He travels in a procession of cars, armed guards. There's like 3 or 4 cars wherever he goes. He uses a rocket launcher, blows up one car to cause a distraction. Comes.
Oh, down. Wait. Hold on. Go down a couple scenes. Yeah. Okay. So this scene comes first.
Right.
Go down.
Oh, this one is first?
No. Go up. That one right there. Okay.
Right.
So, he finds out from the guy whose fingers he cut off that there's this guy called the Butcher who works the door at a rave. So he says, "All right, cool." So he shows up dressed like this. He shows up and he raises his hand like this, and he has money folded in his hand. The guy sees it. He says, "All right, cool. Come to the front." And he gets to the front and he says, "Are you La Hermandad?" And the guy looks at him like, "What the fuck?" And he sticks a gun in his stomach. Let's go upstairs. So he goes upstairs to this room, and it's the guy at the door that he walked up there, another guy, and this woman who's sitting there. And so he knocks on the door, and he sees the guy who works the front. And so he goes to open it, and Denzel kicks the door, hits that guy in the face, knocks him on the ground. And so cut to the next scene. Everybody's all lined up. The dude at the door, this woman, and the other guy who got hit in the face with the door. And he says, "So tell me how it works." He goes, he holds up a picture and says, "Did you say goodbye to her? Did you say goodbye? Say goodbye. Say goodbye." And he pulls a gun. Boom. There's a shotgun. Blasts the dude from the door. So he's showing these other 2, I'm not fucking around. And if you don't give me the right answer, I'm going to shoot you too.
Right. And it's like a crazy rave techno club. So
yeah,
fire a gun in there and nobody hears it because there's thousands of people dancing downstairs.
Yeah, you can't hear shit. And
Right.
so she's in the next room. She's only hearing what's going on. So he's playing psychological games on her. She can't hear. She can't see shit. She can just hear it. And so after he shoots that guy, he duct tapes the other guy's face. So now he can only hear. So he's even more scared. And he's asking him, you know, how does he's all, you're American? He's like, yeah, where are you from? New Jersey? He's like, yeah, I'm from New Jersey. He's like, oh yeah, really? And so almost like, hey, buddy,
you
okay,
ever go to Luigi's Pizza? It's really good.
He's like, I'm from New Jersey. And so he starts asking him, how does it work? And he starts explaining. We get a phone call. They put money on this debit card. We only get $200 a month. That's what they get from this, $200 a month.
Right, they get $200 a month to kidnap
kids. He was in the car with the first guy who got fucked up. And so they show flashbacks to the kidnapping, and you see who's there. So they're like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit. He was there. So he says, yeah, we just take them. You know, everybody just has their job. Nobody's connected, so nobody knows everything. One guy grabs a girl, one guy does this, one guy does that. Welcome back. Sean.
Yeah, sorry, guys. We're having a terrible... I said it wrong. If you could put me full screen. We're having a terrible snowstorm here. There's just white powder. I went outside to check on it everywhere. And anyway...
Are you doing
your part to clear?
I think I got some...
Gummer.
Are you
everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna be
but I'm okay. It knocked out the internet when I attempted to chase the internet. You know?
You can't.
Anyway, back to Men on Fire.
Sometimes, Sean, you can't chase. You got to let it come to you, baby.
You got to let it come to you, man.
So here we are.
Yeah.
So he's getting the information from that dude, and then he holds up the picture and says, say goodbye to her. Say goodbye. And he's like, no, man, please.
Yep.
Boom. Shoots his ass, too. So this woman's freaking the fuck out. She's in the next room, can't see nothing. She's like, oh, my God. So he comes and starts asking her, you know, who killed the girl? And she's like, do you want the girl? And he goes, wait, what? What girl? The girl. You're here for the girl, right? And he's like, wait, what? What are you talking about? What girl? The girl that got kidnapped. Don't you want her? I have her. She's here. And he's like, so as when you're watching the movie for the first time, you're like, wait, oh shit, she's alive? Ooh. So, you know, now you know, how's it, you know, and you can still in your mind, you justify, okay, he gets her back. He thought she was dead. She gets her back, but he's still justified in, you know, taking these dudes out because they kidnapped her. So she takes him downstairs and he walks around the corner. There's like these cages with fucking kids in the cages. Like all dirty face and shit, living in the basement of some fucking rave, man. It was terrible. So takes her in there. He goes around the corner. He's expecting to see PETA, but it's this other little girl. And so, but you know, hey, it's a win. You saved the little girl from whatever the fuck they were going to do to her. So he gets her out of there. And so he turns on all the propane and shit. And he makes a big fire. He's going to blow the whole club up. So he's going out and the crowd, you know, they're just, you know, on drugs. They're raving. They don't know shit. He starts shooting the gun there. Boom. They start cheering, yeah.
I love that.
Boom, shoots again, yeah. But they're all moving outside. So the place is fully engulfed. It blows up. And he calls the reporter again. Hey, come here. Or he says, is there a girl about 12 years old who's been missing recently? She said, yeah.
And she knew the name like off the top of her head.
Yeah, she said, oh, yeah, last night. What's up?
Yeah.
What's her name? And I don't remember what her name was, but he says it. And the girl's like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I got her right here. Where are you? So she shows up.
Yeah.
And he knocks on the hood of a car to get her attention when she pulls up because he's like kind of back from the scene. He's not up there where the fire department is and shit, but he's still in front of the club.
He may be wanted.
Yeah, you know, there's people, and she tells him that when she first met him. She's like, "There's a lot of people who are looking for you." So she comes over and he hears the girl and he gets a debit card. One of the questions he asked the dude how much they got paid, he took his debit card and he told him the PIN. He said, "You got bank connections?" She's like, yeah. He's like, here's this debit card. The PIN number is 4747. I need to know who's putting money in this account. And he looks at this woman, this middle-aged woman, and the one who was helping the kidnappers. And she points at him and goes, who's that? He's all, don't worry about her. But later on, you can ask her. She'll tell you everything you want to know. She was scared out of her mind. She was, you know, she's shitting her pants because he just, you know, blew away two of her homeboys with no problem. And so she says, he asked, you know who Fuentes is? Oh, yeah, he's the head of the anti-kidnapping division. He was busted with a bunch of money. I know the irony. He was busted with a bunch of money, but the cop who arrested him couldn't testify because he was dead, so he's a crooked piece of shit. And she said he lives on a compound. He travels with more security than the president. He goes, good. He's going to need it. But he's struggling to stand up. He's like, he's using the gun, his sawed-off shotgun. He's using it to stand up almost like a cane because he's still reeling from his injuries. He got shot 3 times like 3 days ago. And Christopher Walken Rayburn moved him to an animal hospital for safety. So in the story, it's playing, and then periodically it shows him getting in a pool, and he swims, and there's like blood coming out of his wounds. He's still dealing with it.
I was wondering about that. Is that real or is that a dream sequence? Because when he does it, he keeps seeing her too, the little girl that was kidnapped. And I keep wondering if that's really supposed to be happening, or is that supposed to be like some bizarre dream he's having?
I think it's just some kind of bizarre thought because it's in the pool. That's their connection.
Right.
And he's like bleeding in the water. So yeah, I think that's what it might be. But periodically they show that to show you what's going on in his mind and what's driving him to do all this stuff. And so he goes to the compound of Fuentes, and it's in this apartment. It's along his route that he goes to work. So his plan is to blow up the car in front of him. And so the apartment that gives him the best shot has these 2 old people in it. So he comes to the door, he knocks on the door, and they open. He says, I'm not here to hurt you. And he comes in their apartment, and he's setting up. He's like waiting, like almost like, nice weather we're having. He's like sitting in their apartment waiting.
Don't they have some quaint little conversation? And they tell him that the Bible says to forgive. And what does he tell them? I don't remember what he tells them.
He said, what is it? Forgiveness is up to God. It's just forgiveness is between them and God. It's up to me to arrange the meeting.
Send them.
Right.
Yeah,
he said it's up to me to arrange the meeting. Like he's all, I don't want to hear none of that shit right now. I'm on a mission.
Well, they're a very brave old couple, because if a man comes in your house with a rocket launcher, I don't usually go, can I just disagree with you on one point? Typically, that's not what you do. But I also have to say this, because people need to grasp this. My wife was asking me about this movie, and I said, it just had one of those endings, and she goes, can you compare it to anything? And I said, Shane. I could compare this to the Western Shane. That's what I could compare this to. Mm-hmm. And this dude is leaking for 3 days, okay? Yeah. These wounds aren't healing. He is leading a very active life with 3 gunshot wounds that are fresh. But he is like Eli trying to walk to San Francisco. I mean, he has got a mission on this earth from God that he was spared when he tried to pull that trigger in his mind. That is overcoming all. And it's amazing. Yeah,
he's with the shit. He wants to get down with these dudes. So he takes position in their apartment, and so here comes his motorcade, and boom, he blows up the first car. He walks downstairs, takes out his Glock, and he like throws an incendiary grenade under there because it sets the car on fire to make everybody flee the car so he can get a shot at him. So they get out, boom, boom, he takes those dudes out and takes the car that Fuentes is in, and he drives off. And then that's where we get to this scene where he's explaining to him. He's like, "This is, a tube, inmate."
1 second. So when the scene started, they're under like an overpass. Like there's a.
That's where the money drop went wrong.
Right. And then there's a bridge overhead for cars to drive on. So they're kind of in between 2 roads, vertically, and he's tied in his boxers to the car with zip ties. And when Denzel comes, he goes in the cab of the car for some reason, he comes back, he's taking off examination gloves.
Yeah, latex
and
gloves.
In my head, this is the first time I've seen this movie, I'm like, is he going to stick a gun up his ass? Or because I'm seeing the guy bent over the car.
Something with an ass.
And in my head, I'm like, oh, God, something's going to happen to this guy's ass. And sure enough, I was not wrong.
Dude,
no.
Much
more than a gunshot.
Yeah. I understand this movie was trying to be gritty and everything like that, but it messed up the entire flow of this flick. This scene, soundtrack-wise, when they started playing dueling banjos. Right. I was like, that's just a bit... And Denzel comes out with some straw hanging out of his mouth, and I went, this is not good.
Yeah, Get out of here. He hooked him up, man. He gave him some customer service with that thing. He explains to him that this is a charge or whatever he called it. His inmates put contraband in this and they stick it up their rectum. you put drugs in there, whatever, and they stick it up their ass. They keister it so they can smuggle it into prison. And he tells them, he's like, this is C4. This is a detonator. He's like, you put them together, you got a bomb. It's primitive, but it's effective. You call it in, you call like a pager or something, send a signal to it, kaboom. So he says, this is up your ass right now. And he goes, like tenses up. He's like, don't move. Don't move. So he asked him, what went wrong with the drop? What happened? And so this guy starts giving flashbacks in his mind. They start showing flashbacks of what happened based on, how he's telling the story. And basically when the boys, his homeboys that robbed the drop come in, one bag was full of $5 million and the other bag was full of fucking newspaper clippings, paper, like just fucking shredded paper.
Right.
So he said, well, who put the money into the car? Who else had access to the money before you stole it? He said, the lawyer, Jordan Kalfas. So Mickey Rourke took half the money, took $5 million cash, gave the rest in fucking shredded paper, and he was going to give that to the kidnappers, get the girl back, and then, whatever, fuck you kidnappers, you don't have the girl anymore. But these guys robbed him and took it. So he finds out that the lawyer had something to do with it. The lawyer planned it, meaning that Samuel Ramos planned the kidnapping of his own daughter,
Right.
To get money because he needed cash. Well, he'll explain later why. But yeah, that's what happened. He fucking, needed to get cash. So his lawyer and him planned the shit. So you're like, what the fuck? This dude plans a kidnapping of his own daughter. What a piece of shit. And so he tells him, he's like, hey man, hurry up and tell me more information. He's like, you don't got a lot of time. And it's showing in the corner, it's showing the time counting down until this bomb goes off in his ass.
And the guy's pretty brazen too, because he's kind of some of the conversations, he's like shit talking Denzel. Don't you know who I am? I'm the leader of the Hermanidad. And
the
like,
president.
listen, buddy, this is just life advice for any of you out there. God forbid. But if you ever find yourself with a bomb up your ass and the other person is telling you what to do, that is not the time to give them some lip.
Yeah.
Just say.
You know who I am? He's like, yeah, La Hermandad. He's like, I'm the president. He's like, yo soy profesional. Like he's like, it's nothing personal. I'm a professional. That's what they keep telling me. I'm a professional. I'm just a professional. And he's like hitting him in the face with the duct tape and shit that he took off because he had his eyes duct taped. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he takes the duct tape off and he starts hitting him. He's like, that's what they keep telling me. I'm a professional. He's like, look, I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing the job and shit and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what did he say? Like, I wish I had one last wish or something like that. And he goes, one more. He's like, you wish? He's like, I wish you had more time. And he walks away and he has his jacket on. And then it does a slow explosion, the walk away explosion. Behind him, you see a countdown, 3, 2, 1. Boom! His bomb blows up. This dude's done. His car is done. And it's on to the next person on the list.
And if you slow it down, you see what looks like 2 honey-baked hams just flying out
flying there.
Yeah.
Oh, so
really, really hairy hams. Weird.
Yeah.
Rare.
Man.
If you get a hairy ham, you're lucky. Just make sure you don't get none of that hair in your mouth. So before this, so now that he knows Jordan Kalfas is the one who took the money, now he's got to go see Jordan Kalfas. So he shows up to his house, his gun's out, he's sweeping the place, clearing it, and then he goes to the back and finds Jordan Kalfas headless. Face down, well, not face down because he has no face, but stomach down in the pool floating with no head, and there's a bloody samurai sword. So somebody came in and went ahead and removed his head. I guess it was probably the kidnappers.
I gotta ask you a question. what would Arnold tell this guy was in his ass? Come on. This is hilarious.
He would probably say something along the lines of, hey, buddy, Mr. Fuentes, don't move. There's a bomb in there.
Here we go.
There's a bomb in your asshole.
All right. Just asking.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to do a Ren and Stimpy style cartoon Heinrich von Schwarzenegger face so that we can lip sync that. Oh, God.
There is a bomb in there. There was.
There is.
Well, there was a bomb in there.
That's
now
right.
the bomb is everywhere.
Now it's everywhere. he Jordan Kalfas, that's a no-go because his head's already cut off. So now he goes to see Peter's father, and he finds him at home, and he's like, "You son of a bitch! You know, you planned your daughter's on kidnapping." He said, "Jordan told me that she would just be eating ice cream for a couple of days, and we would get her back, and all this shit." And he's like, he tells him, "Don't move." He's like, "If you move, I'll snatch your spirit from your body." And he's like, he's breathing heavy. You know, he's getting weak. He's like, he's overexerted himself. And the wife comes in, and he tells her, you know, I did it, I planned it so we could have money. She's like slapping him. Tell me, she's like, be a fucking man. Tell me the truth. Tell me. And he says, I did it. I planned it. And she's like, if you don't kill him, I'm gonna kill him. And so he takes the bullet that was in her notebook, the one that didn't go off, and he puts it on the table, and he puts the slide back on his gun and leaves it there. He's like, bullet never lies. So he walks out of the room, and Samuel Ramos picks it up, puts the round in there, puts the slide forward, and with a Glock, there's no safety, there's no hammer. And the slide goes forward with the round in it. It's time to go. And so he kills himself like a bitch.
Right.
And so now he figures out who the voice is, that reporter. Oh, shit. Hold on. One of the coolest parts in the movie. So the guy who is banging the reporter, he goes to visit Rayburn, Christopher Walken. And he's like, tell me about Creasy. And he's all, man can be an artist with anything, you know, food, whatever. He's all, it just depends. He's like, but Creasy's art is death. And he's about to paint his masterpiece.
Right.
I love
He
it
said
so
those
much,
guys,
dude.
so those guys are gonna wish they didn't harm a hair on her head. He's like, and that's all I have to say about that. You know, he said he can exact more justice in 24 hours than your courts can do in years. Just let him go. You know, get out of his way. Let him go. He's like, but he's about to paint his masterpiece. It's over. And the guy's kind of like, well, all right, cool. You know, all right, I'll step out of his way. You know, he's right. He will. And so the voice's brother, this little tiny little midget fucker, he finds,
dude, by the way, this guy.
Yeah, he's a funny looking cat. But he rolls up on the reporter and her driver and shoots her driver in the leg with a shotgun and tells her, bitch, if you don't back off, we're going to kill you. You know, back off the story. And so Denzel, he finds out who he is. The reporter gives him a picture, and he gets the location. And so he goes up to this guy's house, and it's the kidnapper's wife, and she's pregnant. His kids are there, and then the kidnapper's brother.
Right.
And so he tells her, get him on the phone right now. And she says, we got to go up to the roof. You know, because it's the reception of, she has like a satellite phone. And so she gets him on the phone, and he gets on the phone.
But the kidnapper's brother, the funny looking guy, he shot Denzel. Remember they had a shootout in the kitchen.
Yeah, they'll shoot out in the apartment, and he shoots him again. So now he has him,
in the chest, but on the right side, so not in the heart, but still bad.
Yeah, so now he has 4 shots in him.
Yeah.
And within what, 4 or 5 days?
Something like that.
So they go up on the roof. And she calls him. She gets him on the phone, and he says, "Oh, what's his name? Angel or something? I can't remember the guy's name, but the voice." He gets him on the phone, and he says, "I have your family here. I have your wife. I have your brother." And he's all, "Family is really important." He goes, "Yeah, it is." He's all, "Here, you want to talk to your brother?" And his brother goes to talk to him, and he takes a sawed-off shotgun and just boom, blows this dude's hand clean off. Jeez. So he starts screaming. He's all, "You hear that?" He's, "I'm gonna take you apart, piece by piece, piece by piece, because there's nothing left. You took Peter from me. What the fuck else?" Just imagine you, like, if you are a single dad and this movie played out, what is going to keep you from exacting your revenge? What's going to keep you from doing it? There's nothing else. There's no wife and another kid. There's no nothing. That was it. And they took it. So fuck it. Let's go. So he tells him, you know, "I'm going to take you apart piece by piece."
And that's the mistake, though, he made, because this is the thing. We've seen how he reacts to truth, honesty, and a perceived insult. You don't really fully understand why Walken was being careful with a suicidal man to not lie to him, because he's just looking for a reason. And that guy made the fatal mistake of asking him essentially, like, how much money do you want? It was something to that effect, and he wanted to prove, because he shoots off those top 4 fingers. Like,
it's over for all of them.
And he's just saying, you think I want you? I have nothing I want. I want to kill you.
Yeah,
like,
there's nothing else I want.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And the
It's
wife,
beautiful.
she's like opening. There's these barrels up there, and she's opening them, and they're like filled with water, but the money is like in these, vacuum sealed bags. And she's like, "Here, take the money. Take the money." He's like, "I don't want your money." He's, "I want you." And so then he says, he's like, "Okay." He's all, "Let's make an exchange. How about a life for a life?" He's like, "Life? What life? What life? What are you talking about? What life?" And he says, "Pita." And he's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, damn near knocks him on the ground. He's like, "What do you mean, Peter? She's dead." He's like, "No, she's not. She's alive." And he says, "Wait." He's like at a loss for words. He's like, "Prove it." "Well, what's she call her bear?" And he asks her, and she says, Creasy Bear. And he's like,
terrible.
"Fuck, she is alive." And so,
No, I have to tell you, I didn't tell you guys this earlier. I saw this coming because I did tell you earlier when they killed the girl. I'm like, this is a stupid movie. And if they did kill her, I would say, fuck this movie. It's a bad movie. But I knew it had to be a fake out. I'm like, there's no way you kill because if you kill a child in a story and then the guy gets all the revenge and kills all the bad guys, the kid is still dead.
yeah,
Like, you have to be an idiot to write something like that, I think. Like, who cares if he kills the entire world? The kid's still dead. So evil still won. You know what I mean? So I knew it was a fake out. I was 99% certain it had to be a fake out. So when the guy said, "Oh, she's still alive," I'm like, I knew it. So
Yeah.
I was glad that was true, though. I was glad.
so he wants to trade his brother for Peta, or no, he wants to trade Creasy for her. He said, "Bring, meet me here, whatever. But I want, that's the wife where she was like trying to offer him the money. But he says, I'll trade your life for her life." He's like, "Oh shit!" So he gets in touch with her mom, and the mom drives over there and meets him, and basically tells him, "We come across this bridge. You send my brother first, and then I'll send her. You come across the bridge and basically exchange." So they pass each other on the bridge. He's going to give his life for her. She's going back to her mother, and he's like, he's holding onto the rail. He's dying. At this point, he's dying. He's achieved his goal. He's wreaked havoc on the organization. Peeta's still alive, and so he's going to gladly trade his life for hers. And when this is the scene right here, man, when she, oh god, that would be horrible. We would not be talking about this movie in the same light. So when they run across that bridge, man, and he sees her, and she screams his name, "Creasy," and she just runs at him in his arms, man. That part gets me every time, man. And she just hugs him, and he's so happy to see her, but yet, this is the last time he's going to see her. She's holding him, and he's like, "I have to go." He's like, "I'm going home. I'm going home."
Yeah,
And
that's tough when he does that because she's like, she's going home with her mom, and he's like, "I'm going home too." And you're like, "Oh my gosh."
Dude,
Do you remember what it says about where he's going?
Well, say it.
Oh, Blue Bayou. That's another thing throughout the movie. Was that Linda Ronstadt? The Linda Ronstadt, Blue Bayou. That song keeps playing. Because he listens to it when he's getting drunk. That's the song he listens to. And he doesn't really allude to his connection to that song. What that means is that a love in his life who loved that song or something. You don't know. But that song plays, and he goes, I'm going home to Blue Bayou. And you're just like, fuck, man. So, hey, in the end, the little girl lived. That's great. But he had to sacrifice, and he's,
The look on his face and the look on her face. Like, I remember hearing Joseph Campbell talk about this, and I think it's really true, which he says, people don't understand what eternity is. Eternity isn't it's not a time thing. It has nothing to do with time. It's a moment that transcends time. Like, it's not everlasting. It's not infinity. It's eternity is this place beyond time. You can have eternity in the here and now. In certain moments, they just feel like they're outside of time. They're bigger. And in that moment, that joy that he feels is like this eternal joy. It echoes on. She knew if anyone could save her, it would be him. His purpose, he was born on this planet. Everything else, all the horrible shit, was the preamble for this moment when he was going to be the perfect servant for saving this girl. And he accomplished his mission on this life, and he knows it. It is freaking amazing. It's poetry.
Yeah, it's heavy, man. It is. And she goes back to her mom, and then that's another thing. Imagine the joy of her mother finding out that she's not dead. Your child is not dead; she's still alive. So she's over the moon, with happiness. Her child, her baby, is still alive, and so he goes over there. They exchange and they say goodbye, and he goes to the other side of the bridge where the bad guys are, and they're thinking, we're about to. And I'm sure they had just a list of horrible tortures and stuff they were going to do to him, and all kinds of bad things because you killed or you blew my brother's hand off, and your side of the equation, you guys killed my cousin and all this shit. So you destroyed my business, shot up my people. So they were going to get back and just fuck him up in all kinds of different ways. And that's, part of the group. They were some hard looking cats. And so he touches the necklace that she gave him, and he's in the car and he's looking out the window. And then when in the beginning, there was a mountain that he looked at when he was coming into Mexico. And when he's driving away, he's looking at that same mountain. And you see right there the red dot on his hand, like they have their rifles on him. If you try anything funny, we're going to shoot your ass right here. But the voice wanted him. He wanted him to torture him. He wanted them to bring him back. That's why they didn't just open up on him right there and kill him. The voice wanted him. And you could see the poor girl, and what a difference of emotion she's feeling. Happy, my mom, I'm back, but super sad that, my best friend, he's going home, or he's leaving, as far as she knows, he's gone.
Right.
And he's in the
He
car.
doesn't tell her not to cry when she sees him either. It's okay to cry then. It's okay for him too to feel that. I mean, guys, if this movie doesn't break you up, check yourself for a pulse.
Yeah, that scene is heavy, man. That scene is real heavy. It'll get a tear or two, or at least make you choke up a little bit. But he's looking out the window, and he's dying. Basically, he ends up dying in the back seat of the car. And then it gives you, the wrap up at the end. They ended up finding the voice and shooting that cop who's banging the reporter. He shot that fool in the head. And, everybody basically got what they deserve. This is the part of the corrupt government in some countries that's good. They bypass all the courts and red tape and shit, and they just straight executed that fool at his house, and he fell in the swimming pool dead. So that was pretty cool. But happy / sad ending. She lived, he died, but he wouldn't have it any other way.
It's it's kind of like Glory. In Glory, they die a glorious death, and I think he dies a glorious death in this one too. He is redeemed at the end. He does find the purpose of love, and not romantic love, but love just from one human being unto another, and then ultimately to love God, and not because I think to hate your own life is to not be loving towards God, who gave you a miracle of life. We're a pile of like meat and bones and chemicals that can talk and think. That's such a miracle what we are, that we should love our lives even if we have hardship. And it's amazing this little girl pulled him out of that garbage.
Yeah, because he tried to kill himself.
Right.
He wasn't close to it. He tried it.
Yeah.
He knows.
Wasn't expecting this at all, because I'd seen the commercials years ago and heard about, it's this crazy revenge flick. I thought it was Denzel as John Wick. I had no idea it had like a deep story and a deep message about redemption and hopelessness and all that. So I was really like caught off guard by this movie. I had no idea. I was like, where is this going? Is what I was thinking when I was watching it. So I was like, when's he going to start killing people?
Yeah, let's get to it. But the scene where
I don't think he starts killing until like an hour and 10 minutes into the movie or something.
Yeah.
So, something like that.
And the scene where the bomb blew up, where he stuck up Fuentes' ass, that's where you really get on the right, it was blue, really blue. Like almost like a really dark blue, and then on the left was the orange of the flame. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, this movie was a home run on all fronts. Actors, visuals, the colors, the score, it was great.
Yeah, and Brian Knapp well said, this is Bambi's mom, Old Yeller, E.T. dying level. Said, yeah, I mean, you look at the joy here. You can see Denzel smile, even though you could barely see it. And then you look at the grief here. And I think she's yelling, crazy, or something like that.
The kid was telling you, she's one of the best damn actors in the movie.
Get the mute on my remote. Like, all right.
Shane! Like, this was some rough. And I must say, man, it's like, and I know I say this all the time. I freaking have that painting down here now because I was like, why is this painting not in my studio space? Denzel Washington is my movie star, my total hero acting. It started with Glory because we got shown that movie in our history class, and it hit me like a ton of bricks because again he was playing the man of hope at war with himself, the cynic, right? Like he's in a sense the like 11 version of Han Solo. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Man, this is all pointless, but deep down, he's walking with rotting feet. He is just trying to get, I mean, you can't overstate it. And from then on, he was hitting home runs with his movies. But as I often say, my action hero is Wesley Snipes for too many movies that I can count. I mean, it's Wesley Snipes and Brandon Lee for me. Those two are pretty tied for me. But it's this is the movie star for me. And this performance, because what a movie star is able to do is, and I say this with respect, I've never seen Harrison Ford be able to do the stuff Denzel does in this movie. Ever. I think he's a movie star, he's a great actor, but some of the stuff that he does with the arguments with the little girl and the nuance he shows in his face, enjoy Denzel while he's on this earth with us, people. You will not see his likes again for some time. He is a movie star. Period.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the Wesley Snipes series.
Shit, man. Passenger 57. Saw the theater.
Oh, man.
Love it.
Can't wait.
Love it.
But yeah, Denzel, this is Denzel being Denzel. This is being great.
Look at Marty.
Was awesome.
Look at Marty's avatar there.
God bless him.
Awesome.
Marty. Mark for death. Screw face.
Me don't know no screw face.
Why does he have a picture of Jericho as his avatar?
Hey,
Right.
Right there with the ponytail. Weird. I'm telling you what, guys. On our final season of the show, when Jericho takes off that hat and that beautiful ponytail flows out, you guys are gonna know.
Oh,
Yep.
I feel
it's like he's gonna shake his head and then he's gonna push his thumbs through.
That's the main. That's the main reason I actually want to meet up in real life is I need to touch the ponytail. I know
exactly.
I know.
I don't know, man. I don't like people, touching this silky mane.
Oh,
I want to
you
meet.
look.
I want to meet up.
You can look.
I want to meet.
You can.
I want to meet up
So
that Jericho can say, "So, Sean, what kind of steak you gonna order?" I'll be like, "I don't know, Chief. I was thinking about ordering this kind of steak, but he said that cooking the steak medium rare is not as good as I need to be that character just for a moment, Jericho. It'll pass, and I need you to go, well, that's ridiculous.
Live in it, enjoy it.
You've got a career as an artist, man. And by the way, everybody knows the steak should be cooked rare. No,
right. My mother cooks some. She likes her steak well done, and I'm just like,
did my mother-in-law put a bacon press on that steak?
Really?
Lifeless.
Call the police, man. Call the police next.
Dude,
but it's your mother-in-law. What are you gonna do, man?
Dead. No pink.
So, well, I think Denzel Annuary was great. Now, are we still going on to Sylvester Feblone, or what? Where are we moving next?
I feel like. Go ahead.
I feel like Stallone's a good move. You can't go wrong with Stallone.
It's tough though, because somebody dropped Passenger 57 in the chat, and I started saying no. But yeah, I'm totally game for Stallone.
We'll figure it out in our text, our little text. We'll figure it out.
I'm game for Stallone anyway. I'm happy, guys.
We'll have the
we got like, what did we say? We got to do Snipes. We got to do Brandon Lee.
He
only has 5 movies. We already did Crow.
Yeah,
we got to do Rapid Fire, right? Brandon Lee, Rapid Fire.
Yeah, man, that was the height of Brandon Lee.
Okay, if you want a movie as bad as Stone Cold, we got to do Brandon Lee in Laser Mission. This,
I think that was 1985. That was horrible.
Exquisite piece of garbage. This movie.
Horrible.
So bad.
We got to do a ninja series too. There's some good ninja movies out there.
Okay.
There's
some American ninja movies that are awful.
Yes.
When we get I think Stallone, absolutely Stallone next. But I will say this too. When we do the Ninja movie series, I want us to start off with a movie that I don't know if either of you've seen, but you have to grant me this, which is Christopher Lambert in The Hunted, which is a samurai versus ninja movies in modern time, has some of the best sword stuff, and it is a hidden gem. It is such a great
Christopher
flick.
Lambert and his eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's rough.
one of those eyes ain't doing what it's supposed to. Yeah, man, and maybe because if we do Stone Cold, then we got to do or since we did Stone Cold, yeah, Nick Cage, he got some good ones. But you guys ever seen No Holds Barred starring Hulk Hogan?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know
Don't
what?
insult me.
we'll do like
I've seen
either Wesley Snipes or Stallone or whatever next. I think we'll do one of those two.
Yep.
Whichever one we do, we'll do the other one right after. But let's take a 1 week detour and just let's find a piece of crap for next week. Just something hilarious, like Laser Mission or like the one you just said. What did you just say, Jericho?
No Holds Barred.
Oh my gosh! Should we do No Holds Barred? And another one we have to do.
That movie.
Well, let's try this. Let's like do one movie star for 4 weeks, like we do, and then like a crazy crappy movie, and then back to 4 weeks, and then because there's one I have to do. We have to do No Retreat, No Surrender.
Oh my goodness!
They should be in prison. The people that made this movie. It's so bad. There's a line. Look, the premise of the movie is the Philadelphia Italian mafia is taking over teenage kids' karate dojos in Los Angeles and Seattle.
Do you want to make serious money or not? Because that's how you do it. You got to get in the dojo business.
Right. But I remember the mafia boss, his plane gets in from Philadelphia to LA and his goons are already in the town. They're like, one more dojo and the city will be ours. And it's just like, how much fucking money can you make shaking down a dojo?
More than you know, dude. Those dojos are taking in millions.
Oh, all right.
Those D's aren't cheap.
There's so many good ones. Warriors, Samurai Cross, Mars. Yeah, you guys are great in the chat. Guys, make sure you hit the like. Make sure you're subscribed to both Shant and Jericho's YouTube channels. And check out Shant's comic Nosfero. These links are in the description. Make sure you hit the like and make sure you're still subscribed. Okay, because when you do live stream, sometimes YouTube will unsubscribe you without you asking. So, yeah.
Also, a horrible movie, Simon Says.
Oh, yes.
With Dennis Rodman and Dane Cook.
Oh, my gosh.
That is special.
It is.
Simon Says don't watch this.
Shithole. That movie is a shithole.
All right. Well,
a hole of shit.
I like No Holds Barred and then into Stallone or Wesley Snipes. I like that.
Yeah, we'll make a decision. Either way.
Or No Retreat, No Surrender. One of those pieces of garbage.
Oh, just a shit movie. So there's so many shit movies.
It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe
my lord. Man.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll also revisit Denzel. He's got a few more. My son told me another Tony Scott Denzel that's really good. I haven't seen it. He said was Deja Vu. I think he did them. They did this movie right after this one. I think
that's pretty good. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, we'll come back to him. We'll come back to Arnold. We'll come back to all the greats. But yeah, Denzel Annuary, a success.
Again,
I had fun.
Another month in the books. Yeah, man, that was great. Great movie. Way to end it. And whichever actor, whether Stallone or Snipes, we decide to go with, it's going to be awesome. So
right.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay, guys. Well, if there's nothing else, I guess we're actually signing off a little early tonight. That's weird.
Yeah, what the hell?
I think we kept it on the rails more than usual because this was like a pretty serious movie, a great movie. So there wasn't a lot of off the railness about it. But don't worry, people. We'll get off the rails.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did have a visit with Lord Benson Horse, whatever his name was. That was a moment.
That was off the rails for sure. For sure.
As Guy Fieri says, that was out of bounds,
Yeah.
Was that a movie review or what? All right.
That was out of bounds.
I'm an unapologetic super fan of Guy Fieri. I love it. And you don't have to like him. But I have this heuristic in my head. If you hate him, if you hate Guy Fieri, I think you're a mean person.
Not at all. I don't hate him. He's cool.
He's a cornball. He's a dork, but he seems like a really, really genuine, nice dude.
Flavor Town.
Love it. I've been to so many of his restaurants, like not the ones he owns, but the ones he's reviewed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been to some. There's one up the street from where I used to work that he went to. I talk to the owner all the time. Yeah. She said he was nice, but he was just, busy. It was
I got one for you. If you don't like Bob Ross, get the fuck out. That's another one of mine.
Right.
That guy's super nice, man.
Right. They seem like the same kind of person, like a genuine kind person, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Legal Alien. Thank you, Legal Alien. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you next Wednesday. It's Wednesday the 31st, right?
Yep.
Or is it the 1st? I don't remember.
First.
It
Today's the 25th.
1st of February, guys.
Yep. Love month.
Right. Ooh.
Ooh,
okay.
Get some love this month.
Out of here just yet. I do have to show you guys something. So the other night I was at the grocery store, right? And I was at the self-checkout because why would they hire cashiers? And there was Valentine's stuff for sale. And there was a dancing piece of shit with a Valentine's heart in its hand. I'm not kidding.
What? Like
there was
poop
like
emoji shit?
It was a little emoji poop dancing.
Little poop emoji?
Right. And it was up there dancing. And I thought it was really funny. And I thought it'd be something to show my wife and kids when I got home. And it was just a magic moment that I captured. Let me show you guys what happened. And I added music to this too to make it better. I edited this on my phone. This literally happened the other night at a Vaughn's by my house. Let me share this. This is hilarious to me. Hold on. I just thought I'd film it dancing. You got to see what happens, though. Is there any
Oh my!
Shit fell in the basket. No.
And that is what happened to Mr. Valentine's poo.
That's
too young and beautiful for this world.
All
I don't know.
right,
I thought the serendipity of the moment was amazing. That I was just holding my phone up near the cash register, and this stupid poop committed suicide because he was going to be alone on Valentine's.
That's messed
Gotta
up.
be
What a
honest.
shitty deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some funny shit. All right, let's go.
I think that was a metaphor for arrogant people. They're on top of the world one moment, and then they're just a turd in a basket, you know? Now, when I played that, did that have sound when I played it?
I
I
couldn't hear it.
Oh,
I
I don't know
could-
why it does that. I had the song by Nazareth, Love Hurts. You know what I mean? Have you guys ever heard that song?
Yes.
I'm sure it was in some Adam Sandler movie.
Yep.
That's what I had going.
We'll be struck in a minute.
I'll turn it on. Yeah. So, R.I.P. Mr. Valentine's poo.
Yeah, man.
Too young
Amen.
and beautiful for this world. So, okay. All right. I don't know
Take
why
care.
the hell I showed you guys that. That made me laugh so hard when I saw it, though.
We
Anyway,
gotta do it.
Wednesday, February 1st, it will be a ridiculous movie next week. We will decide, but it will be nonsense.
Promise.
Guys. We might even see, Lord Benson might be here. Schwarzenegger might be here. All kinds of guys. Sanjay from the call center. All kinds of guys might show
You
up.
never know who's going to stop by.
Oh, you
It's
never
Sandeep. It's Sandeep, you motherfuckers.
I would like if in Sandeep's character he can never cuss someone out correctly. I'm going
That's
to
right.
motherfuck you. You know, like
Yeah, no, it's this actually happened. I was one time I was at this there was this festival, like Indian cultural festival, and I was with some people that we were talking too loud, some teenagers, and this old Indian guy turned around, and this is absolutely true, turns around and goes,
Shut up in your fucking face.
it was
He got his point
beautiful.
across. You knew what he meant.
He did. We knew what he meant. We didn't go, that rocket launcher, you're holding it wrong. We didn't say that.
oh my gosh. All right, guys. All the buddies
Take
will
care.
be here. Sandeep versus Arnold. I don't know. They've been beefing lately.
You never know.
You know how it is.
You never
All
know how
right.
it's gonna play
Wednesday,
out.
we'll see you guys, 7 p.m. Pacific. Talk to you later.
Take care.
Peace.